Part 57. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 561. Zhang Chen returned to the stall and showed the rental agreement to Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao was very happy after reading it, but she found that Zhang Chen was not as happy as she imagined. Xiao Zhao asked him what happened. Zhang Chen told her about the problems he discovered after going there. Xiao Zhao secretly breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. What I thought was a big thing, weren't it just trivial things? Xiao Zhao said to Zhang Chen in a slow voice, it doesn't matter. Just take it one step at a time. There will always be a way. If there is no way for the time being, it can be overcome. You think, Zhao Zhigang and the others are the ones who want to work and live there. They say to you, if you don't care about these things, why should you keep them in mind? In the beginning, the conditions may be very bad, but we just need to be nice to them. Don't worry, as long as you are sincerely good to others, others will feel it. Also, you forgot that on the first day we arrived in Hangzhou, you slept in the corridor too, so what? Aren't you still coming through step by step? Zhang Chen thought, yes, on the first day he arrived in Haikan, he slept in the park at night, so what? Xiao Zhao knew that all of this was because they had no money. So what if they had no money? If you don't have money, why don't you set up a factory? If you don't have money, why don't you give birth to Zhang Xiangbei? Without money, Zhang Xiangbei wouldn't be able to support him. No, she just didn't think it was possible. Although they didn't have much money, they weren't at the end of their rope yet. When the time came, she knew that Zhang Chen wanted to save face and couldn't open his mouth to others. When that day came, at worst, you can ask Sister Chu or Sister Gihua to borrow money. They also know that they are doing business by borrowing money and will definitely help them. If you can't speak, it's better for me to speak, right? Xiao Zhao looked at Zhang Chen's worried look. She didn't know why, but she suddenly wanted to laugh. She felt that sometimes he was as mature as an old man, giving her a sense of security. But sometimes, it seemed like he hadn't grown up yet. Needs to be taken care of by myself, it is really my own big baby. Xiao Zhao touched his belly and said silently to his son inside, see, Zhang Xiangbei, this man is not your father, he is your brother. Alas, you too need me to worry about you. Zhang Chen took out his sketchbook and sat down to draw. Xiao Zhao came over to take a look. Zhang Chen said to her, this is the floor plan of that place. I am thinking about how to change it. By the way, I will go home in the evening. I want to draw a rendering. Xiao Zhao looked at his serious look and almost laughed again. It was just a small processing factory, but he made it look like a big project. He kept a straight face when he spoke, as if he was talking about something extremely important. However, Xiao Zhao likes his serious attitude in his heart. It may be that he is serious about big and small things and strives for perfection, so he can do everything so well. In contrast, business seems to be the least of Xiao Zhao's worries now. The goods that come in every day are still not enough to sell. She hopes that Kaidi and the others will move there tomorrow so that they can recruit a few more people and expand production. This is what Xiao Zhao is most anxious about. When he got up the next day, Zhang Chen still asked Xiao Zhao to sleep well. He said, you have to get enough sleep today. When you get to the stall, you may not even have time to take a nap. I am not at the stall today. What are you going to do? I'm going to the industrial and commercial office to inquire about applying for a license. I also need to go to the entrance of the labor market to find a plasterer and take him to the house to see how to renovate it. After Zhang Chen left, Xiao Zhao lay on the bed, unable to fall asleep. She looked outside and it was bright. She simply got up. After washing her face, she walked to the warehouse alone. Zhang Chen had brought her here the night before. But it was so dark here that she couldn't see anything clearly. Yesterday afternoon, She heard Zhang Chen describe how terrible this place was. She couldn't help but want to come and take a look. All the doors were open. Xiao Zhao looked at each room and felt that it was not as bad as Zhang Chen said. Houses that have not been popular for many years are like this. As for bathing and going to the toilet, as Zhang Chen said, she also thought it was nothing. Every household in their village still used such toilets. Xiao Zhao stood in the open space in front of her. The early morning sun shone softly on people's bodies. Xiao Zhao looked around and fell in love with this place. She felt that this place was very open and secluded. If possible, she would even want to plant peach trees during the week in the sun-drying area. That would truly be our paradise. Xiao Zhao walked slowly back home alone, and after sitting for a while, she decided to go and see Kaidi and the others. Kaidi and the others should have gotten up by now and were ready to work. When Zhang Chen arrived at the stall, before the samples were finished, the two girls from Xiaoshan came. Zhang Chen was surprised. "Why are you here now?" The two girls said, "Come and get this shirt, the store is sold out." The three people were talking, and the two women from Wuhu and Mianshan also came in. They also wanted cotton and linen shirts. The four women started fighting in the stall, with a total of more than 60 shirts, and everyone wanted them. "Take them all." The four women chattered loudly, attracting people from the surrounding stalls. Ion came over to join in the fun and shouted, okay, there's a fight. Let's have a fight, and whoever wins will take it." When he said this, the four women who were at war with each other just now started laughing. Zhang Chen hurriedly reconciled. He told Xiaoshan that we were all selling clothes. They had a long way to go and it was not easy to come here. You should ask them to get more. You can sell enough today and come back tomorrow to get it. We finally came here in the morning today, just because we were afraid that you wouldn't have the goods here in the afternoon, the girl said. Zhang Chen promised them that he would leave it for them tomorrow, and you can come at any time. Yes, you can come to him at 12 o'clock in the evening to have fun with him. Ion called from the side, "Little sisters, please give me the address and I will send it to you." "Fashionable, ignore you." One girl laughed and cursed, and the other said to Zhang Chen, "I'll come over at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and you must keep it for me." Zhang Chen said yes, definitely. The two girls gave up, and one of them asked Zhang Chen, "How do you like this t-shirt?" Zhang Chen told her honestly that depending on the location, Woolen Road sold well. Woolen Road is good, so Xiaoshan will definitely be easy to sell as well. The two girls each took 6 more t-shirts, wrote down what they would need tomorrow, checked out and left. The people from Wuhu and Mianshan took shirts, t-shirts, and other goods. When checking out, the people from Wuhu and Zhang Chen said, "Boss, let me give you a suggestion." Zhang Chen quickly said, "Yes, you say it." "There are too few new models here. Look, it's been almost half a month since we first came here, and there are still no new models here." Someone from Mianshan also said, "Really, your products have really good styles, but there are too few styles." The good style is Zhao Zhigang's credit, and the lack of style is his fault. Although Zhang Chen himself was aware of this problem, he only felt the seriousness of the matter after they talked about it. In fact, many people who buy goods are a bit superstitious. If you have a style that is easy to sell, they will become dependent on you. I hope you will produce more new styles. If you produce more new styles, they will buy more and more. After that, they also have their old customers, and they will sell more of your clothes to their old customers, thus forming a positive cycle. Sometimes, it's not necessarily that your clothes are better than others, but because everyone pays more attention to your clothes and has more confidence when selling, your clothes will sell faster. Zhang Chen felt that he had to seize the time to make new models. The fabrics for proofing had been sitting there for so long. When Xiao Zhao arrived at the stall, it was already past 9 o'clock. Zhang Chen took Xiao Zhao's ID card and went to Sijiking Industrial and Commercial Office. On the second floor of the Industrial and Commercial Office, he told the matter to a staff member of the registration department. Ask, do you want to set up a company, a garment factory, or an individual business owner? Zhang Chen asked him, what's the difference? If you are a self-employed business owner, you can set up a business here. For a garment factory or a company, you have to go to the Municipal Industry and Commerce Bureau. There is no requirement for a registered capital for an individual business owner. The required registered capital for a company is 500,000 yuan, and for a garment factory it is 100,000 yuan. Of course, Zhang Chen couldn't do the latter too. He said, I just want to recruit a few people to process clothes for our own stall. Your stall is in our Sijiking. Zhang Chen is right. Where will the processing point be located? Zhang Chen talked about the three fortresses. Sanbeo also belongs to Sijiking town. The other party said that it is okay. We can just apply for a license as an individual industrial and commercial household here. Are you renting a house from a farmer? No, it's a house in Sanbeo village. Did you bring the rental agreement? Zhang Chen said he had brought it with him. He took out the rental agreement from his bag and showed it to the other party. After the other party read it, he asked, is your name on the license? Zhang Chen said no, the license said my wife's name, and Zhang Chen took out Xiao Zhao's ID card. The other party said to him, well, look, this rental agreement is in your name, and your license must be written in your wife's name. In this case, the business address and operator will be unable to come. What should we do? Zhang Chen asked. You write a description and say that you are giving this place to your wife for free. That's right. Zhang Chen said okay. The other party took out a form and said to Zhang Chen, copy the rental agreement, your wife's ID card, and your own ID card, fill out this form, and add the instructions I mentioned earlier. Once it's done, give it to me and that's it. Zhang Chen originally wanted to come for consultation, but he didn't expect that it would be so easy to handle it directly. There is a copying place on the first floor of the industrial and commercial office. Zhang Chen copied everything that needed to be copied, and asked the copying place for a piece of A4 paper. He squatted aside and wrote the instructions, filled out the form, and wrote down the name. When reading, Zhang Chen thought for a moment and wrote, Zaome Garment Processing Factory. After writing it, he looked at it. He thought it looked like a Japanese name, but it was very good. Zhang Chen returned upstairs and handed all the information to the staff member in front of him. The staff member glanced at the other information and put it aside. Finally, he picked up the form and looked at it. He added Sanbeo village, Sijiking town, Jianghan district, Hangzhou city. The word factory of the processing factory was crossed out with a pen and changed to field, and Zhang Chen said, if you want to talk about a factory, it won't be set up here. Zhang Chen nodded and said yes. The staff took another form, pointed to the empty desk next to him, and said to Zhang Chen, sit there and fill out the form again. When Zhang Chen wrote Zaome Garment Processing Factory in Sanbeo village, Sijiking town, Jianghan district, Hangzhou city again, he felt that this no longer looked like a Japanese name, but had a local flavor. Zhang Chen couldn't help but laugh. Zhang Chen handed the form to the staff. The staff gave him a receipt and told him to come back in 5 working days to get the license and pay 180 yuan. Then can I start giving birth now? Zhang Chen asked. The staff member glanced at him, meaning that it goes without saying. He nodded and said to Zhang Chen, you have applied for registration, and it is a legal business. While you are waiting for the license, if there is an inspection, show him the receipt. Ken. Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the tip. Thank you to the Dingley Blade of the Country and Book Friend 201909230054291443 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 562. Next, Zhang Chen was going to the Hangcheng Labor Service Center on Hanghai Road. Under the gray building of the service center, there was a courtyard. There were security guards at the gate of the courtyard. There were 2 recruitment markets inside and outside the courtyard. Inside the gate, there are some formal units carrying out formal recruitment work. Desks are lined up in rows, and there is a long queue in front of each table. When a unit recruits people, they stand up and take the job. When people go to the second unit and sit down, they don't care about the people in line. They continue to line up. It doesn't matter what unit they are in. They are all working anyway, so as long as they can get in, that's fine. The labor market at that time was still a demand-side market. Only the employer chose part-time workers, and few part-time workers chose the employer. It was not easy to find a job, and there was no choice. In order to find a job, many people even paid registration fees everywhere, but was deceived by some shady intermediary companies, and got nothing in the end. Some people even went to some units and paid deposits, registration fees, clothing fees, and other miscellaneous fees, so that you could officially go to work 10 days later. When you went to work, you found that the building was empty and the unit did not exist at all. When it rains, recruitment will be moved to the lobby inside. There are too many people applying here every day, and most of them are people who have just gotten off the train and cars and have not showered for several days. The air in the lobby is extremely polluted, so if not as a last resort, everyone prefers to recruit in the open air in the yard. Outside the gate, a free recruitment market has formed. Every day, many people squat on both sides of Hanghai Road, waiting for people to come here to recruit odd jobs. In front of these people are the tools of carpenters or masons, and some people have written the words plumber, painter, and welder were placed on the ground, and people gathered next to them to play cards in a pile. When he saw someone standing in front of the sign, he walked over with the old K sign in hand. If he could not reach an agreement or the other party had no intention of recruiting workers, he just took a look and went back to continue playing his cards. There are also units that are reluctant to spend money to recruit people inside the hospital, so they shout outside. If someone comes around, they explain the conditions clearly. If they are still willing to go, they point their fingers and say, you, come with me. This scene is very strange. Like the wild recruiters in front of the recruitment wall in East Lake, Haikan. Most of these units are not formal units. They are mostly workshops and small restaurants that do not even have business licenses. If the recruiter stood there for too long, the security guard at the door would rush over. The crowd would disperse with a roar, and then gather together again after the security guard left. There are so many people that even the security guards can't control them. Most of the time, they can only turn a blind eye. Zhang Chen rode more than 10 meters toward the labor service center and then turned around. He thought he should go back first and tell Xiao Zhao the good news that the business license procedures had been completed. Zhang Chen parked his bicycle and the BB recorder in his waist rang. He looked and saw that it was Xiao Zhao. It turned out that Xiao Zhao had already detained him 3 times. He didn't hear the first 2 times on the road. Zhang Chen hurried back to the stall. When Xiao Zhao saw him, he waved hurriedly, with a flustered expression and nervousness written all over his face. Zhang Chen hurriedly walked over and asked, "What's wrong?" Xiao Zhao lowered his voice and said, "Something happened." "What happened?" Xiao Zhao picked up his bank book and opened it to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen took a look and was startled, and asked quickly, "What's going on?" "I don't know either," Xiao Zhao said anxiously. "I asked a Yang to look after the stall for me, and I went to deposit the business funds. When the passbook was returned to me, that was it." Zhang Chen saw an income of 300,000 yuan in the penultimate line of the passbook, and the balance in the row below also had an additional 300,000 yuan. Could it be that the bank made a mistake? Zhang Chen asked. No, I asked, and they said it was a supplementary registration, and the money arrived in the morning. Xiao Zhao said, dear, tell me, with so much extra money, will something happen? Yes. Could it be some criminals? Zhang Chen laughed, criminals will steal your money, but they will not give it to you. If there is such a stupid criminal, he probably doesn't have enough IQ if he wants to commit a crime. You're still laughing, but isn't it scary to have so much extra money? Xiao Zhao was anxious. Then you didn't ask the bank where the money came from? I asked, and she said it was entered into the account this morning. I asked who remitted it, and she said they have regulations and this cannot be disclosed. Xiao Zhao said, but who would remit so much to us without saying a word? Money. Zhang Chen also felt that this was strange. He suddenly thought, could it be Meng Ping? Didn't he ask for the money he gave him last time? Zhang Chen asked Xiao Zhao, does Qian Fang know your account number? Xiao Zhao shook her head. She said she didn't know, and it was Qian Fang Hui's. If she didn't tell it in advance, she would tell it later, right? Zhang Chen thought about it too. Dear, can you go to the bank and ask again? Xiao Zhao said. They said there are regulations and they can't tell you, so if I go, won't it be the same? Xiao Zhao chuckled, shook Zhang Chen and said, it's different. I saw your little sister with medium long hair working at another window. Zhang Chen understood that Xiao Zhao wanted him to go through the back door, so Zhang Chen said angrily, no, I'm not familiar with her either. Let's go, Guo Guo, you are not familiar with her, but she is very familiar with you. She will definitely tell you. Xiao Zhao said with a smile, look, I agree that my husband sacrificed his appearance. Zhang Chen glared at her. Xiao Zhao laughed, put the bank book into Zhang Chen's hand, and pushed him behind. Zhang Chen really wanted to know what was going on, so he left. When Zhang Chen arrived at the bank, he saw the girl working and lined up at her window. When it was Zhang Chen's turn, the girl looked up and saw him and smiled, is that you? Zhang Chen quickly said hello. Withdraw money or deposit money? Zhang Chen handed the bank book in and lowered his voice and said to her, please help me see if a sum of 300,000 yuan came in this morning. The girl took one look and said, yes, it's not written very clearly here. Can you help me find out who sent it? The girl glanced at him, said nothing, stood up and walked away. After a while, she came back, closed the bank book and gave it back to him. Zhang Chen kept the bank book. The girl did not tell him who remitted it to him, but he asked, do you know someone named Lu Ligan in Hainan? Zhang Chen understood and quickly said thank you. Zhang Chen walked out of the bank and went back to the stall. Zhang Chen never thought that Lu Ligan remitted the money to him. He thought of Meng Ping but not of Lu Ligan. This was because Lu Ligan was paid, so he could not with so much money, and this guy basically ate it all up, including performance bonuses and dividends, that should be at the end of the year, not now. Unless he borrowed it from his work unit like last time, how could he borrow such money and pay it to himself for no reason? Unless Xiao Zhao told him that they were short of money now, but that was impossible. If Xiao Zhao had told him, then Xiao Zhao should know that the money came from Lu Ligan. Zhang Chen returned to the stall and Xiao Zhao asked, how was it? Zhang Chen looked at Xiao Zhao and asked, have you told Lu Ligan or Qian Fang that we want to set up a factory? No, Xiao Zhao said, we are going to set up a factory, and only Sister Chu knows. She also asked me if I needed help. I told her no. Why? Xiao Zhao understood and shouted, you mean, this money was transferred with a pole? Zhang Chen nodded and Xiao Zhao laughed. She said, what an idiot. We should have thought of it earlier. Only he knows our account number. Didn't he call us 20,000 yuan last time and let us go back to Yongcheng, for his parents? Zhang Chen also remembered this incident. But why would he give so much money to his parents? Xiao Zhao asked. Zhang Chen picked up the phone on the table and dialed Lu Ligan's office. The call was answered by Wu Ziyawai. When he heard it was Zhang Chen, he said, "Mr. Zhang, please wait a moment. Mr. Lu is doing something big." "What's the big deal?" Zhang Chen asked curiously. "Shhhh." Zhang Chen laughed loudly. Lu Ligan came back, snatched the microphone away, and shouted in a pretentious manner, "Oh, it's Mr. Zhang. It's so rare. Why do you have time to call me today? What the hell happened to that money? Haha, have you received it? Are you surprised or surprised? Do you feel a little like getting rich overnight? Stop blabbering, where did this money come from? It's yours. Mine. Of course, you still think I gave it to you? I wanted to give it to you, but now, I'm the mother of the damn family and I'm about to be squeezed dry by them. I'm short on money, but I'm a little better now. Tell me clearly what's going on." "Okay, I'll break it down with you next time when I sit down." Lu Ligan took the microphone, sat down on the chair, and told Wu Ziyawai to get me a bottle of water. "You just peed down below, and you want to pee at the top again?" Wu Ziyawai asked. Zhang Chen heard it on the phone and laughed again. Lu Ligan glared at Wu Ziyawai fiercely. Zhang Chen also sat down. He was worried that the people next to him would hear, so he didn't dare to press the speaker phone. Xiao Zhao's head was almost touching his, and he was also very anxious to listen. "Zhang Chen, you left Heiken and forgot that you still have assets in Heiken." "I have shit assets. It's just an asset, no shit. Did you really forget about that piece of land?" Zhang Chen suddenly realized and remembered that Lu Ligan should be talking about Lao Xie's land. Lu Ligan continued. "The Longkan South Road has been opened. Although the land was divided into two parts, under the good situation in Hainan, it still became popular. Someone offered 10 times the money to sublease. When Lao Xie asked me, I made my own decision. The idea was agreed, so the 50,000 yuan we invested turned into 500,000 yuan and I gave you your 300,000 yuan. Why, you don't want it? It turns out that's what happened. In that case, the money is really my own. However, the pie is too big and it fell too suddenly." Zhang Chen asked stupidly, "You mean, that broken ground, Lao Xie, 5 million was actually sublet?" "Yes, Lao Xie is so rich now," Lu Ligan said with a smile. "What's up with him? Do you still remember his factory? Now it has become an entertainment venue, a hotel, a movie theater, and a hypermarket. They are all plural. Lao Xie can collect more than 2 million yuan in rent a year." Zhang Chen was surprised. Lao Xie's factory, according to the plan, isn't it located on the roadside? "Yes, but Lao Xie has a way. When he sublet this land to others, he specified in the agreement that the area in front of his factory can only be used as a parking lot. Therefore, the area in front of his factory is now it's a large parking lot. This is not a house on the street, but a house on the street. Tell me, is Zhang too old?" "Awesome, indeed awesome." Zhang Chen also smiled, but he was even more happy because now he felt at ease. It turned out that the 300,000 yuan was really his own. Lu Ligan just deliberately didn't tell them in advance and wanted to tease them. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen looked at Xiao Zhao, and both of them laughed. When Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan were on the phone just now, Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen's hands were tightly clasped together without even realizing it. Only now did they realize that their palms were sweaty. "Thank you Lao Chentang and Laughing and Running Y for the tip. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 563. Zhang Chen opened his sketchbook, put a cross on the originally drawn floor plan, and told Xiao Zhao that this was invalid and I wanted to replan it. Xiao Zhao said yeah and nodded. Zhang Chen closed the sketchbook and said to Xiao Zhao, "Let's go back early today and go there to have a look." Xiao Zhao said yes. When we arrived at the market gate, Xiao Zhao said he was going to buy vegetables. Zhang Chen said no, we will go to Sanbeo Street to eat today and invite Zhao Zhigang and Kaidi to eat with them. Xiao Zhao still smiled and said yes. She felt that Zhang Chen now really felt a little bit like what Lu Ligan said, the feeling of getting rich overnight. Zhang Chen saw Xiao Zhao smiling and seemed to understand why she was laughing. He said a little embarrassedly, "They have worked hard for so many days. They need to be rewarded." "I know, let's go." Xiao Zhao still smiled. The two of them arrived at Zhao Zhigang's tailor shop first. Zhang Chen and Zhao Zhigang said they would go there together to have a look and make detailed plans. Zhao Zhigang thought to himself, what else is there to plan? Haven't we already agreed? The wires are pulled up and the machine is ready for use. What else is there to do? But he turned off the motor, stood up and said yes. Zhang Chen then told Kaidi, "You don't have to cook anymore. When we come back, we can go to a nearby restaurant to eat together." Kaidi looked at Xiao Zhao, who nodded and said, "Go ahead." Guo picked up money today. "How many did you pick up?" Zhao Hailong immediately became interested and asked. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao laughed. There were 3 people on a bicycle, one of whom was pregnant. Xiao Zhao sat on the back seat of the bicycle. Zhang Chen patted the front gear of the bicycle and said to Zhao Zhigang, "Come up." Zhao Zhigang shook his head and said, "Let's go, I'll run." 3 people in one car, one riding, one sitting and one running, arrived at their Miazao garment processing factory. Zhang Chen and Zhao Zhigang said, "By the way, I forgot to tell you, the business license here is also ready." Although Zhao Zhigang believed that setting up a processing plant did not require a business license, he was still very happy when he heard the news. With a business license, it would be a formal unit after all, and it would sound better to the outside world. Zhang Chen took out the sketchbook from his bag. In fact, he had already thought about it very clearly and meticulously. Asking Zhao Zhigang and Xiao Zhao to come over was more like explaining his thoughts to them. Zhang Chen told them while painting, "I think the first and second rooms here will be used as sewing workshops. Now we can't use both rooms at once, but I think this place should be completed first and then be renovated. Here, when the manpower is insufficient, we only need to move sewing machines and add people inside. It is very convenient and there is no need to worry about it again." Zhao Zhigang said yes, if you have money, of course it is best to get it done in one step. Zhang Chen continued to tell them that each workshop, I think, should not be too crowded. I roughly calculated that there are 3 machines in a row, a total of 9 rows, which can accommodate 27 sewing machines. The last row, put 3 edge binding machines. Zhang Chen turned around and asked Zhao Zhigang, "Is it enough for 27 workers to have 3 edge binding machines?" Zhao Zhigang said enough. "Okay, let's recruit 27 workers for the first time and fill this workshop." So many, Zhao Zhigang was surprised. Didn't he say that he would only recruit 5 or 6 people? Zhang Chen smiled and said he was right, if business gets busier, we will open a second workshop. In this way, we will have more than 50 sewing machines. With more than 50 flat sewing machines, at that time, if it was not a foreign trade garment factory that made foreign trade orders, it was already a large-scale garment factory. Zhang Chen felt happy when he saw Zhao Zhigang's surprised look. He wanted to ask him if this had reached your ideal of just put a few dozen units in our factory and they would occupy a corner. Zhang Chen joked. "How about it, Director Zhao, are you afraid of too many people?" Zhao Zhigang's face turned red, and he nodded excitedly, Okay, okay, what am I afraid of? If you want to do it, just do it. Zhang Chen smiled and said, yes, we just want to have a big fight. Walking to the third room, Zhang Chen said, this is the cutting room. We want to make a 6-meter long cutting bed here, is that okay? Zhao Zhigang said yes, 6 meters is very long, enough for cutting a coat. The fourth room is still the big iron and the back room. The outermost part is the keyhole and the button, and the innermost part is the big iron. A 3-meter table is made in the middle for them to wrap their clothes, place them, etc. Walking to the adjacent room, Zhang Chen and Zhao Zhigang said, I will decorate this room, but it will not be a room for you to live in, but an office for you. As the director of the factory, you can't say that you don't even have a desk. There is another 2-meter 4 table in here, which is as big as a whole 9-centimeter board. If I design it, it will be here, and you can also make boards on it. Is that enough? Zhao Zhigang thought for a while and said, I don't need a desk. I work all day long. If I want a desk, I can lay out the boards and put the cutting bed there. It's big enough. I think this place should be used as a sample room, with a sewing machine, a hemming machine, and a table as a small press. A sample worker will be arranged here. The things you design every day will be sent directly to the sample worker. If you do, you won't be afraid of the noise anyway. Zhang Chen felt that Zhao Zhigang's idea was so good that he really needed a dedicated sample worker so that he wouldn't have to worry about not having new styles. Zhang Chen said yes, your idea is very good. What about letting Zhao Zhilong work as a garment worker? Zhao Zhigang said yes, his skills are pretty good, and he must be strong as a sample worker. Also, if he is here, it is under your control. If he is in the workshop, it is not easy for me to manage him. Zhang Chen thought to himself, this is true. A factory director and a worker are brothers. Even if you are a bowl of water, others will think you are partial. If Zhao Zhilong is a garment worker, then he will have to deal with himself every day, which basically has no connection with the workshop. Besides, I really need someone who can turn my weirdest ideas into reality. This guy Zhao Zhilong seems to really have this ability. Zhang Chen and Zhao Zhigang said, okay, then this matter is settled. Zhang Chen pointed to the left side of the drying area and told them that I would move the toilet location so that it would be more convenient for everyone to go to the toilet, especially at night. It would also be safe without having to walk such a long way. We planted a row of trees past the toilet, which effectively separated our place from the vegetable patch next to it, Zhang Chen said. What kind of tree to plant? Xiao Zhao blurted out. Zhang Chen looked at her and said with a smile, peach tree. Xiao Zhao's heart skipped a beat and he smiled slightly. We plant the first row from here, and plant another row across the front, all the way to the roadside where we come in. In this way, although there is no wall on the side, it actually separates us from the surroundings. Both Zhao Zhigang and Xiao Zhao said yes. Zhang Chen then pointed to the right side of the drying area and said, here, we use insulated color steel plates to build a row of 2-story simple rooms, put the bathroom and canteen on the first floor, and use the other rooms as staff dormitories. In this way, even if 60 or 70 people can live there, this row of houses is equivalent to separating us from the vegetable fields over there. Then this is the yard of our factory. Zhao Zhigang pointed to the drying area. Zhang Chen said yes, that's what I thought. Zhang Chen had more detailed ideas that he had not told them. He was planning to repaint the house facing the drying yard, so that the entire factory would have a completely new look. He even wanted to make a house on the drying yard. There are tables and stools in the small garden where you can sit and relax and chat. That day, the customer from Zhengzhou came to their booth and reminded him. He thought, after the factory is really established, there will definitely be many customers who will ask to come to the factory to have a look. What do they want to see? Let's take a look at your strength. The number of sewing machines in the factory is an expression of your strength. The appearance of the factory is also an expression of your strength. Zhao Zhigang and Xiao Zhao were very excited when they heard what Zhang Chen said and looked at his paintings. Okay, starting from tomorrow, I will take action and try to take it down in 10 days, Zhang Chen said. 10 days, is that okay? You don't have anyone to work with, Xiao Zhao asked suspiciously. Zhang Chen smiled, I will find the people who will do the work tomorrow. Zhang Chen said this while drawing and turned around again. He was still a little worried about the septic tank. After the toilet was moved, the septic tank still needed to be built. There was no other place to build the septic tank. Dig it down in the drying field. Constructing a septic tank is their biggest project, and it is also the most time-consuming. Even 10 days may not be enough. Big brother is here, Xiao Zhao shouted. Zhang Chen raised his head and saw the landlord riding a bicycle coming in from that road. After dinner, the landlord brother was going to someone else's house to play with Lao Ke. He passed by outside and saw Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao here from a distance, so he turned in to take a look. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao both called them eldest brother. The landlord got off his bicycle and asked, "Is this place ready?" Zhang Chen said, "Yes, I am going to find someone to start doing it tomorrow. This shabby house hasn't been used for a long time." "Is it troublesome to make it messy?" asked the landlord. Zhang Chen said, "Everything else is no trouble. It's just a septic tank. I still can't figure out how to fix it." "What septic tank?" Zhang Chen told the landlord that he wanted to remodel the toilet. When remodeling, he would need to build a septic tank. This septic tank was a bit troublesome to build. The landlord laughed when he heard this and asked, "Do you think there is a septic tank in our village?" Zhang Chen thought for a moment, and it seemed that there really wasn't. "We are all vegetable growers here, and the feces and urine may look dirty to you, but in our opinion, they are all good things and no one is willing to waste them." The landlord said, calling to Zhang Chen, "Come on, tell me where you plan to build the toilet." Zhang Chen took the landlord brother to the drying yard near the front of the house and told the landlord brother that he was going to put it here. The landlord pointed to the vegetable field outside the drying yard and said to Zhang Chen, "This land belongs to my uncle's family. I'll tell him and let him bury 2 heavy jars in the vegetable field near here. You connect a pipe from the toilet and go directly into his tank. 2 tanks are enough for you, right?" Zhang Chen's eyes lit up. This was really a good idea. If so, it would save trouble. Zhang Chen asked, "But, will your uncle agree?" "How can I disagree? I'm so happy. If this was my land, I would bury it myself. Didn't I tell you that this shit is a good thing for those of us who grow vegetables? This matter, it's all on me." "That's great," Zhang Chen shouted. Unexpectedly, he was the first to solve the problem that troubled him. The 3 of them returned to the tailor shop. Zhang Chen and Kaidi said, "Let's go and eat." Kaidi looked at him and said, "How about we eat some biscuits and instant noodles now to satisfy our hunger, and have a midnight snack later?" Zhang Chen understood that she wanted to use the time before 10 o'clock to work on the sewing machine for a while. After 10 o'clock, it didn't matter anyway. Zhang Chen said, "Yes, let's take a taxi at 10 o'clock and go to Hangcheng City and Fenki Road to eat Sichuan taste." When Zhang Chen said this, the other 4 people all cheered. Needless to say, Xiao Zhao and Kaidi, 2 people from Sichuan, Zhao Zhigang and Zhao Zhailong, 2 people from Zhongshan, are also very good at eating spicy food. Red soup hot pot is their favorite. Thank you Pai Wuzun and Li Rujin for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 564. Xiao Zhao came here at around 8 o'clock today so that Zhang Chen could find someone to do the work. When Xiao Zhao came, Zhang Chen was doing a wholesale business. After finishing the work, He was about to leave when Chu Tianlin and Xiaoan walked in. Zhang Chen asked curiously, "Why are you here?" "What, not welcome?" Xiaoan choked. Zhang Chen quickly said, "Welcome. If I dare not welcome you, I'm afraid I'll be buried by you." Chu Tianlin smiled and said, "Today is Sunday." Only then did Zhang Chen realize that Xiao Zhao had told him that every Sunday in the future, Sister Chu would ask Xiaoan to come to the stall, saying that she would receive training and learn how to do business, so that when Xiao Zhao was born, Xiaoan could come to the stall. Come to the booth to help. Otherwise, Zhang Chen would be too busy to run around alone. Zhang Chen stood up and asked Chu Tianlin to sit down. Xiao Zhao told her that the house in their garment factory had been rented and they would start renovating it in the next 2 days. Once the decoration is completed, production can begin. Okay, congratulations. When you finish decorating, we will go over and take a look. Zhang Chen said with a smile, "It's not just decoration. The clothing factory needs to be decorated. The main thing is that the house has not been used for a long time. It needs to be painted and some places modified according to our own needs." Chu Tianlin nodded and said, "Go ahead and do your work, we are here." Zhang Chen arrived at the gate of the Labor Service Center on Hanghai Road and looked around. Based on his experience in working on the construction site for so long, he was confident that the person he liked would be inseparable. On both sides of Hanghai Road, there were so many craftsmen squatting or standing looking for work. Zhang Chen soon spotted a guy in his mid-20s. He was thin and capable, with a look of sorrow on his face. Come out, he probably hasn't found a job for a long time. His eyes looked older than his actual age. He sat on a slag brick that was half standing on the ground. There was a cement bucket in front of him. There were plaster boards, bricklaying knives and ash boards in the bucket. At first glance, he looks like a bricklayer. Zhang Chen pushed the bicycle over and parked it. The man squatted down next to him, took out a cigarette and handed it to him. He was stunned for a moment, looked at Zhang Chen, and took the cigarette. Zhang Chen also took one himself. Holding it in his mouth, the man quickly took out the lighter from his pocket and lit it for Zhang Chen first, then himself. "Where do you come from?" Zhang Chen asked. "Anhui. Looking for a job as a bricklayer." "Right. Except for bricklayers, do you know anything about water and electricity?" "You know a little bit," the other person said, "even a painter can do it." Oh, Zhang Chen looked at him and said with a smile, "He is still an all-round master." He also smiled and said, "It turns out that in my hometown, I brought a few people to take on some small projects, so I have to know a little bit about everything." "Isn't that great?" "Why did you run out?" Zhang Chen asked. "The work is done, but the money cannot be paid." Zhang Chen nodded, understood, and said to the other party, "My surname is Zhang. What is your surname, master?" "Wang, long live Wang, Wang Jiangguo, the Jiangguo of Jiangguo. I have some work, not much. It will probably take more than a week. Are you interested in taking a look?" "Okay. Contracting work and materials or contracting work alone?" Zhang Chen asked. Wang Jiangguo said, "It's better to contract the work. There is no book for the contract materials." Zhang Chen said yes, but he might need to find 1 or 2 small workers. "Do you have anyone?" "Yes, I have a lot of fellow villagers with nothing to do." Zhang Chen stood up and said to him, "Then come with me." Wang Jiangguo also stood up, picked up the half brick, walked 2 steps, and placed it at the foot of the wall on the side of the road. This move made Zhang Chen feel that he had seen the right person. This guy was not the kind of person who didn't care about his head. Tail, a person who can't even wipe his own butt clean. Zhang Chen rode on his bicycle and told him, "Come up." Wang Jiangguo carried the cement bucket and jumped on the back seat of the bicycle. When he got off the bus, Wang Jiangguo took out his ID card and a copy of his ID card from his butt pocket and handed them to Zhang Chen. After Zhang Chen looked at them, he kept the copy and returned the ID card. Gave it to him. Zhang Chen took out his sketchbook from his bag, took him to look at it, and then showed him the pictures one by one. He told him that in these rooms, all the floors were paved with tiles, and the surrounding walls should be approved first. A layer of paper gray. Do you need putty on the outside? Wang Jiangguo asked. No need, this is a workshop, it's not that particular. Then you don't need to paint the walls, but just paint them with plaster. Zhang Chen said yes, just apply lime, just don't let the lime powder fall off too easily. That's okay, just add some 108 glue. Zhang Chen said yes. Do you need a suspended ceiling on top? Wang Jiangguo asked. Zhang Chen said no, he had already thought about it. After the walls and floor were processed, the entire roof would be made of the largest grids that were sampled in the stall, and painted red piece by piece to serve as a suspended ceiling. Hanging it to one level is simple and fashionable, and you don't need to clean it up at ordinary times. The most important thing is to facilitate subsequent work. After the ceiling of the grid was completed, Zhang Chen prepared to use aluminum alloy profiles to form individual characters under the grid. All the wires would run through the aluminum alloy profiles, and fluorescent tubes would be installed underneath and sockets would be installed on top. Come plug in the small ironing plugs on both sides of the sewing machine and workshop. On the cutting table, he was going to pull a steel wire, tighten it, and put it into rings. The power cord of the electric scissors would pass through the rings, so that when the electric scissors move below, the wires above will also move. Come and go freely. The closet they plan to use as a dressing room also needs to be made of floor and walls. Instead of a grid ceiling, it will be made of gypsum board. This house has mud walls, and the exterior walls are not painted. Leave the other three sides alone. For the exterior wall facing the drying yard, Zhang Chen asked Wang Jiangguo to paint a layer of paper plaster, and then paint 2 coats of white lime on the outside. What was left was the toilet and the row of simple houses. Zhang Chen and Wang Jiangguo talked about their requirements. After they finished, Zhang Chen said, if you ask 2 workers to help, it can be done in 7 or 8 days, right? Wang Jiangguo calculated and said that it was almost the same. If he fully calculated, it would definitely be completed in 10 days. Calculate how much labor is needed for this whole thing, not including plumbers and electricians, who should still have a day or 2 to work on, Zhang Chen and Wang Jiangguo said. Just tell me. I can tell that you are an expert too. Just tell me. Zhang Chen smiled and said, I'm not familiar with the situation in Hangzhou. How about this, how about a $1,005 contract? Wang Jiangguo did the math and figured out that for 2 small workers, each was worth 250. 250 was too ugly, so he calculated it as 300. In this way, he still had 900 yuan to earn. Wang Jiangguo said yes, I will do as you say. When can we start? Wang Jiangguo asked. Now you can. Tomorrow, let's go get the materials in today. Okay, do you know where the materials come in? The building materials market in Kaibao has everything. I live in Kaibao. We first went to where I live, rode a tricycle, and then went to buy materials. Zhang Chen said okay, let's go. Wang Jiangguo was still sitting on the back of Zhang Chen's bicycle. Zhang Chen, under Wang Jiangguo's guidance, went to Kaibao where Wang Jiangguo lived. The house he lived in was a temporary building in the backyard of a farmer's house. He and 3 other people lived in a room. Under the window near the door, there was a tricycle parked under the window. It looked very new. Lock the chain to the window grating. Wang Jiangguo unlocked the door and rode out on a tricycle. Zhang Chen rode side by side with him. Zhang Chen asked curiously, whose tricycle belongs to him? Mine. Why do you have a tricycle? Wang Jiangguo said with some embarrassment. When I arrived in Hangzhou, I couldn't find any work, so I thought I could make money selling fast food, so I bought this tricycle to sell fast food. Then why don't you sell it again? We are losing money every day. The food we cook is not delicious. People who bought it not only didn't buy it again the next day, but also came over and scolded them, Wang Jiangguo said honestly, and Zhang Chen laughed. The two went to the building materials market in Kaibao and bought paper, ash, glue, lime, and cement. They also bought a cart of yellow sand and 4,000 slag bricks for building toilets and simple house foundations. They gave the address to the boss tomorrow. We'll send it over. I went to a stall selling squat toilets and bought 5 squat toilets. Then he went to a stall selling ceramic tiles and bought tiles for urinals and wall skirts in the toilet. He also selected floor tiles for the workshop. The floor tiles would not arrive until tomorrow morning. Zhang Chen paid a deposit of 100 yuan and the payment will be tomorrow morning. You'll pay when you come to pull the floor tiles. All the ingredients were bought and it was time for lunch. The two of them ate noodle soup at a small shop next to the market and were sweating profusely. On the way back, Zhang Chen bought a box of mineral water at a consignment store. When working there in such hot weather, you can't even drink water, and you can't drink tap water. Zhang Chen and Wang Jiangguo said, if you run out of water on the construction site and I'm not around, go buy a box on the street and ask me to reimburse you. Wang Jiangguo said yes, thank you boss. When they rode back there, they saw Wang Jiangguo's two fellow villagers waiting for them there with tools. It seemed that Wang Jiangguo couldn't help it and was going to start working today. Zhang Chen watched them work all afternoon. The three of them worked very neatly. After cleaning up all the garbage on the floor in the room, one started to mix paper, tendons, and ash, and the other two used mud boards and use a bricklaying knife to peel off and clean up all the floating wall covering on the wall, soak it in water, and start scraping the paper and ash. The accountant from the village came over on a bicycle. He was here to read the readings on the water and electricity meters. Zhang Chen quickly took out 2 packs of cigarettes from his bag and stuffed them into him, and offered him some water. The accountant was very polite and after reading the meters, he told Zhang Chen, if anything happens, you should come to the village committee to see me. Zhang Chen quickly said thank you, thank you. Zhang Chen stayed there until about 5 o'clock, and saw that Wang Jiangguo and the others had no intention of stopping yet. He wanted to take advantage of the fact that the weather was getting cooler and it was still bright, so he could work more. Zhang Chen wanted to go back to the stall to pick up Xiao Zhao. He got on the car and got off the car. He called Wang Jiangguo, took out 2,500 yuan from his bag, handed it to him along with the deposit form, and said to him, when you come here tomorrow, pull the floor tiles directly over and I won't go over. Wang Jiangguo took the money and was stunned. He asked, aren't you afraid that I would just take the money and run away? Zhang Chen smiled and said, you are not such a person, I can see it. Wang Jiangguo lowered his head and said, thank you. Thank you Lulu 6717P11 for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 565. Wang Jiangguo and the others move very quickly. They are contractors. If they finish the work a day earlier, the time saved belongs to them. Not only do they start working at dawn, they spread a mat on the ground at noon, take a nap, and then get up and continue working. Even at night they had to burn the midnight oil, and the indoor work of removing paper, tendons, ash, and laying floor tiles was completed in only 2 days. The weather is hot, so the paper, plaster and mortar under the floor tiles dry quickly. After finishing one room, it will be completely dry in the next night and day. Then, you can paint the 4th room with lime. The walls of the 1st room are dry again, so come back and paint them a 2nd time, and you're done. Wang Jiangguo called one of their fellow plumbers, negotiated the price with Zhang Chen, and began to lay out the grid on the roof. He hung steel wires directly from the rafters of the house, installed ceiling fans, and finally installed aluminum alloy profiles and wires. Install the socket. Install the water pipes for the toilets, the water pipes for the pool in front of the dormitory, and the water pipes for the bathroom and canteen. Wang Jiangguo and his fellow villagers really do a lot of things. He called a welder for Zhang Chen and welded the iron frames one by one with square tubes. He also called a carpenter and worked with the welder to make cutting machines and post-processing work. Road and proofing plate. The cutting bed is made of 9 cm boards. One layer is laid on the iron frame first, and then a layer of dark green fireproof board is glued on the 9 cm boards. This way, the smoothness and firmness of the cutting bed are improved. That's enough. By this time, Wang Jiangguo and the others had moved outside and were building toilets and laying the foundation for a simple house. Zhang Chen travels between the construction site and the stall every day. Everyone who works on the construction site knows that Zhang Chen is an expert. He can tell at a glance whether the work is done well and whether corners are cut, and it cannot be hidden from him, so he is very serious. Zhang Chen also directly paid Wang Jiangguo to buy whatever materials were needed on the construction site. He may have known that Zhang Chen was an expert, or that Wang Jiangguo himself was a good character, so the quality and price of the things he bought were outstanding. 2 words. Zhao Zhigang would also go to the construction site every day to watch. When the first workshop was completed, they were eager to move it over. He told Zhang Chen that Kaidi and Zhao Zhailong had already called to ask for help. Zhang Chen was worried that it would be too early. After all, the dormitory here had not been built yet. When people came, Zhang Chen was afraid that he would not even have a place to live. Zhao Zhigang told him that it was not early, and it was not easy to leave there. It would take a few days to resign. Fortunately, it was easy for the unit to recruit people at that time. There were a lot of people outside through relatives and friends. The connections from fellow workers want to come in, so the boss doesn't care too much about who wants to leave and won't set many conditions to make things difficult. Unless you are a good player like Kaidi Zhao Zhailong, the boss will be reluctant to give up. If you don't even want your salary for that month, the boss can't do anything to you. 2 girls came over immediately, and Zhao Zhigang asked them and Kaidi to sleep on the cutting bed first, while he and Zhao Zhailong slept on the table in the back passage. The house on Sanbeo Street was due to expire in more than a month, and they didn't want it anymore. Only when they got here did they feel like they wanted to become the masters. Zhang Chen asked Zhao Zhigang to be the director of the factory, Kaidi to be the supervisor of the sewing workshop, and Zhao Zhailong to be the garment worker. Before the large army arrived, the 3 of them, plus the 2 little girls who had already arrived, had to work hard every day. It turns out that they already have 3 flat sewing machines and 1 hemming machine. Zhang Chen calculated that they need to add 25 flat sewing machines, 3 hemming machines, a button stitching machine, and a buttonhole machine. Machine, a set of large ironing table and steam generator, which is a small boiler, 6 sets of small ironing, and an electric cutting knife. Zhang Chen and Zhao Zhigang went to Taipingmenji Street. The boss was so happy when he saw that they needed so many things, so he took the 20 yuan himself. Zhang Chen looked at the electric scissors and the big perm. He felt that these the things were too dangerous. Although Zhao Zhigang said that the old ones could be used, he insisted on buying new ones. Although the boiler was small, it was an explosive thing, so he couldn't afford to be careless. He chose imported electric scissors, which were 3 times the price of domestic ones. The boss showed them one and said it was a spare one from his Hong Kong boss's factory. The factory closed down before it was used. Zhao Zhigang took it out to try. Yes, it's really good. Even though the price is 1019, they still want it. They selected a domestic buttonholing machine, and Zhang Chen saw in the warehouse a conky 781 flathead buttonholing machine with a blade that automatically cuts buttonholes. Zhang Chen picked up a piece of cloth placed beside it. There is a row of locked buttonholes on it, the stitching is fine, and the stitching is very beautiful. It is simply incomparable to the domestic one I just bought. The stitches on the domestic sewing machine are similar to those produced by Singer's home sewing machine. They are very sparse, but the speed is a little faster. After locking the holes, you also need to cut the buttonholes by hand. This buttonhole is so beautiful. Zhang Chen admired that the boss knew that a factory like theirs could not use such a high-end keyhole machine. He smiled and said, "Of course, you get what you pay for. This new one costs 36,000 yuan, and one can buy dozens of domestically produced ones. How much does your machine cost?" 24,000. Zhang Chen was shocked. So expensive? Zhang Chen hurried over. When he walked to the batch of machines he had chosen, he couldn't help but pick up the buttonholes of the domestic keyhole machine locks and look at them. He felt that it was better not to compare. Once he compared them, he couldn't stand it even more. Don't look at the buttonholes of a piece of clothing, but everyone, from the moment she tries on the clothes, picks it up with her hands, the buttonholes are what her eyes see. It can be said that a row of buttonholes raises the level of a piece of clothing. Zhang Chen couldn't bear it anymore, so he walked back to the heavy machine, picked up the piece of cloth and looked at it. The more he looked at it, the more he couldn't bear it. He asked the boss, "If I buy it, what's the lowest price you can give me?" The boss looked at him and thought he was joking. He said, "If you want it, no problem, I'll give you a discount of 1,000 or 23,000. Zhang Chen gritted his teeth and said, "Yes, I want it." "Real? Real?" "No, no, no, we can't afford such a good one. This is for foreign trade factories." Zhao Zhigang was also startled and hurried over to stop it. Zhang Chen shook his head and said to him, "Our products are meant to be comparable to those of foreign trade factories. I looked at them and found that the buttonholes produced by the two machines are very different. Also, this one cuts buttonholes automatically, and that one requires manual cutting of buttonholes. Cutting buttonholes requires one person every day, but in the long run, this is a good deal. Yes, you, the boss, can settle accounts." The boss also shouted. After talking to this point, Zhao Zhigang had nothing to say, so they used this heavy machine to replace the domestic keyhole machine. The boss called a truck. Zhang Chen and Zhao Zhigang said, "I don't have enough money. I'll go get the money. You can watch them load the truck here." Zhao Zhigang agreed. A carload of machines was delivered, and even Wang Jiangguo and the others came to help. They lifted the machines off the car and set them up in each room. It looked like a garment factory. Zhang Chen and Zhao Zhigang watched with joy. Mouth from ear to ear. Zhao Zhilong looked at the neatly arranged machines, the clean floor, the white walls, and the red grid ceiling above his head, and couldn't help but say, "Our factory is really high-end." He really wanted to go back to work in the workshop. The people who called came one after another, and Wang Jiangguo's simple house was also built. Zhang Chen went to buy a cart of bunk beds, 3 in a room, with more than 80 beds upstairs and downstairs. Even the opening of a second sewing workshop will be enough for living. The first room on the first floor is the canteen, and the second room is the warehouse. Fabrics, accessories, needlework, etc. are all stored here. Beyond that are Zhao Zhigang and Kaidi's rooms. The rest are staff dormitories. The one at the end of the first floor, that room, with 2 doors in the middle partition, is the men's and women's bathroom. Not only were the 2 rows of peach trees planted, Zhang Chen also asked Wang Jiangguo to break open the cement on the drying ground in front of the house and make a small flower bed. Zhang Chen planted a $500 tree in the middle of the flower bed. He bought a very big peach tree, but he hesitated, not even daring to tell Xiao Zhao that the tree cost 500 yuan. Otherwise, Xiao Zhao would say that in our hometown, peach trees are planted to make money, and there are no people like you who waste money by planting peach trees. Zhang Chen thought to himself, what's the point? Isn't it worth spending 500 yuan just to see the splendor of that tree in early spring next year? After Wang Jiangguo finished painting the wall facing the sun-drying area in front, his work was completed. After Zhang Chen gave him all the money that was due, he stood there, looking over his shoulder, as if he still refused to leave. Lao Wan, what else can you do? Zhang Chen asked as he got acquainted with him and already called him Lao Wan. Wang Jiangguo hesitated for a moment, then summoned up the courage to ask, Boss Zhang, can I work here? This was beyond Zhang Chen's expectation. He asked, what can we do here? You can do anything. Zhang Chen thought for a moment and said, wait a minute. He walked to the cutting room, where Zhao Zhigang was doing layout. Zhang Chen said to him, I think that Lao Wan is a good person. He wants to stay with us and says he can do anything. Do you think we can arrange it? Zhao Zhigang said, let him first come to the cutting room to work as a handyman, help spread cloth, bundle cut pieces, and learn while doing it. I will teach him how to use electric scissors for cutting and typesetting. We are still short of a cutting bed. Zhang Chen called Wang Jiangguo over, told him what Zhao Zhigang wanted, and asked him if he was willing. Wang Jiangguo quickly said yes. Okay, you can move here today, Zhang Chen said. By the way, sell your tricycle to the factory. I will give you another job, which is to use the tricycle every morning. Go deliver to the market. With so many workers, once production officially starts, they can't carry so much goods on bicycles. Besides, don't they have to import fabrics frequently? They can't ask the landlord to borrow a tricycle every time. They should also have one of their own. Tricycle. The landlord came over to take a look and told Zhang Chen that you have made this shabby place look great. Before starting work, we need to set up 2 tables of wine and set off firecrackers to make it lively. Zhang Chen felt that what the landlord said made sense. The night before work started, 5 tables of wine were set up on the drying ground. The landlord and his family came, as did his uncle, the village secretary, the director of the village committee, and the village accountant. Even Sister Huang, the village women's director, also came. When she saw Zhang Chen and the others, there were so many female workers here, she told Zhang Chen, please be careful, don't stay here with those who are superborn. Zhang Chen hurriedly said, no, these little girls here are not even married, they are not even born, and besides, you, Sister Huang, are so powerful, you can see through other people's bellies at a glance, even those who are born are afraid to come. Ah! Everyone on the side laughed. Chu Tianlin and Xiaoan, Hai Zhen and Sister Gui Hua, and a Yang also came. When the firecrackers went off, the sky was getting dark little by little. Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the tip. Thank you for your monthly pass in May. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 566. After the cotton and linen shirts were sold out, Zhang Chen's newly made cotton and linen windbreaker happened to be picked up. Zhang Chen and Lao Wan. Since Zhang Chen called Wang Jiangguo and Lao Wan, everyone in the factory called him Lao Wan. Later workers, even Lao Wan, I don't even know Wan's real name is Wang Jiangguo. Zhang Chen and Lao Wan, one riding a tricycle and the other riding a bicycle, went to the Dongxin Road fabric market twice and brought back all the cotton and linen fabrics for windbreakers. Both of them can ride 3 wheels, so they can rotate them. When pedaling uphill, the other hand can push the fabric on the bike and pedal fiercely on the bicycle, which is not as hard as before. Zhang Chen went to Ba Cai of Sijiking Fabric Market and bought some fabrics. There were more than 20 workers, and they were all experienced people recruited by Zhao's Hailong and Kaidi. When production actually started, the output was beyond Zhang Chen's expectation. Nearly 300 lined windbreakers could be produced in a day. This factory, like a monster with its mouth wide open, a load of fabric was used up in just 4 or 5 days. Their stall had some customers every day, but after all, it was not a stall in an old market, so there was not that much traffic, and the clothes in the stall began to pile up. The daily turnover can easily reach 4 to 5,000, but Zhang Chen and his friends' money did not increase, but became less and less. The money was turned into fabrics, stored in the warehouse, and used on cutting machines. They were cut and turned into goods, which were piled in the stall. Zhang Chen felt that production and sales were like two chopsticks of different lengths. If you aligned one end, there would always be a discrepancy at the other end. Zhang Chen had to start controlling the output. He could no longer say, "Can you do as much as you like, the more the better." Zhang Chen, Zhao's Hegang, and Zhao's Hailong both became busy selling new styles. Every style in the stall seemed to be moving, but none of them moved particularly well. It would be like a cotton and linen shirt that has used up the fabric. Almost every style I will take it when I come here. Once I take it, it will be easy to sell. I will buy more later. No, there is no such style now. This prompted Zhang Chen to constantly design and launch new models. After there were more customers in the store, they seemed to start to separate. According to the characteristics of the fabrics imported from Taiwanese Ba Cai Jingxiang, the styles designed by Zhang Chen will be more avant-garde and bold. This batch of clothing is very specific to the region. Big cities such as Shanghai, Nanjing, Ningbo, and Hangzhou are better. It is difficult to sell in other cities. Those who come to replenish the goods after taking them are all customers in these big cities. Even if it is the same in Hangzhou, it is different. The customer on Woolen Road is easier to sell to. As long as Zhang Chen has this type of fabric, he will buy it no matter what style it is. Every time he picked up the goods, he would tell Zhang Chen or Xiaozhao, "Boss, Woolen Road, help me control the goods." Zhang Chen and Xiaozhao agreed to him, knowing that in one place, there are more people selling the same goods, which means that they are beating themselves up. If any customers come to Woolen Road, they will reject them outright. As for customers in other parts of Hangzhou, the sales of these styles are mediocre. Basically, if you buy them once, there will be no second time. Also, those retail customers, especially those who ask Zhang Chen to help them choose clothes, preferred this type of clothing. In the end, their retail business would be greatly different if Zhang Chen was not in the stall. This made Xiaozhao feel a little nervous. As soon as there were more retail customers in the store, she kept looking out of the stall, thinking, "Why hasn't Zhang Chen come yet?" According to the characteristics of the fabrics coming in from Dongxin Road, Zhang Chen basically designs some popular models. It is not about how novel the style is, but about the combination of style and fabric. This kind of clothing basically does not pick customers, no matter how fat you are. Whether you are tall or thin, wearing it does not mean that everyone looks good, but that everyone will feel that they look better than themselves. In terms of quantity, there are more customers buying this batch of clothing, and there are more repeat customers, but their profits are not as good as imported fabrics. The reason is also very simple. The imported fabrics are very novel from style to fabric, and they are very popular in the market. Without comparison, your price can certainly go up, and for these styles, people will always find similar types in the market. At this time, it is necessary to compare styles, fabrics, styles, and prices. What troubles Zhang Chen the most is that whether it is the fabric coming from the Dongxin Road fabric market or the fabric from the Taiwanese boss, their problem is that once you wait for it to be sold, the fabric will be gone. Clothing is a very sensitive thing. If one style is easy to sell and the fabric is sold out, even if you change to a fabric with a similar style, the customers who purchase the goods will lose confidence first. Then, the market feedback will also be weak and the fabric will be poor. 1 point means that sales are far behind. Zhang Chen immediately realized this. He had to make a rule for himself, that is, he could never use different fabrics to make the same style. That would only kill his old customers. Zhang Chen went to Qiqiao several times, but found nothing. Most of the fabrics in Qiqiao's fabric market are chemical fiber fabrics. From the weaving method to the pattern, they are very novel. The old market in Qiqiao is very similar to the old market in Sijiking. The passage is very narrow and crowded with customers. There are many stalls. Customers are sitting in the stalls waiting for today's fabrics to be delivered. One woven bag after another, the fabrics of the woven bag are pulled out, and they are quickly divided up by the customer in 3 rolls and 4 rolls. Zhang Chen would see such fabrics in Sijiking clothing market every 2 or 3 days, often not from one store, but from 2 or 3. Zhang Chen smiled bitterly and shook his head. It would be better for him to stay away from such excitement. Several other markets in Qiqiao are presented in a stepped manner with the old market. Fabrics that are often sold well in the old market will appear in large quantities in these markets every few days. The price is quite different from that in the old market. The market stalls have stopped selling these fabrics and replaced them with new fabrics. I don't know whether the fabrics in these markets are imitations or simply the same ones as the old market. After I got my first taste there, I immediately moved here to unload the goods. After understanding these rules, Zhang Chen felt that his hope was not in Qiqiao. The fabric manufacturers in Qiqiao mainly relied on sales volume and time difference. There was nothing he could do to compare with those stalls in the Sijiking old market. Zhang Chen has also been to Jinhua. There is an old fabric market in Jinhua that sells old fabrics smuggled in from all over the country and even around the world. Although the fabrics here are diverse and colorful, they are even worse than Cai Jingxiang and Dongxin Road. Only a few of them are in rolls, most of them are only half a roll, and some are only a few meters long. Take them back and make a sample. There is no more. There is no way to get it again, so Zhang Chen can only give up this market. Zhang Chen also went to the fabric markets in Zhenz and Jiangyin in neighboring provinces Jiangsu. What Zhenz sold were gray fabrics, most of which had not yet been printed and dyed, and various polyester and nylon fabrics for lining, which are also commonly known as linings. Cloth, and in Jiangyin market, more than half of the stalls are closed, and the remaining few are selling denim. There were more and more clothes piled up in the stall, and there were still a lot of them. After being packaged, the bundles were piled on and under the table in the back workshop of the factory. Zhang Chen didn't even ask Lao Wan to send them again. It was packed. Unable to continue production, Zhang Chen finally decided to stop the factory and give the workers 2 days off. After working day and night, they could finally rest. The workers seemed a little happy. Zhang Chen looked at, but my heart was full of worries. What about 2 days later? What will you do after 2 days? The clothing that has been produced will not be sold out even if it takes another week. After 2 days, will the inventory continue to be increased? Zhang Chen sat in the stall, looked at the clothes around him, and thought blankly, where is the problem? Zhang Chen also visited the old market several times. He really didn't mean to imitate the model, but wanted to see why their business was so good. Is there any reason other than the location of the stall? If just because of the market and stalls, he was forced to go to hell. Once this garment factory is started, there is no turning back. Zhang Chen feels that he no longer cares about the business, but more about the production of this factory. How can it run normally? What will so many workers do if they don't stop? What can you do for them? Production and business, although to a large extent, the two are actually the same thing. The better your sales, the tighter the production tasks in the factory. The tighter the production tasks, the more work the workers will naturally have to do, but there are still some. The difference is that you can let workers continue to produce, but the output will still be piled up in the factory. The workers at that time, Zhang Chen thought about it later, were really different from the workers after the 1990s. Those who came out to work at that time were not afraid of working overtime. The more overtime you worked, the busier and tired you became, the happier they were, because everyone knew in their hearts that only in this way would the salary be higher. For migrant workers at that time, making money was almost the only reason why they came out. If you look at a little girl, she might be the only one in her family who came out to work. She was under a lot of pressure. The family's house is dilapidated, and people in the village have begun to build tiled houses, but their family still lives in a thatched house passed down from generation to generation. She is the eldest member of the family and the only person in the family who has left the mountains. She is the whole hope of the family. The task of building a new house fell on her. The family depends on her for daily living expenses, the younger brothers and sisters at home rely on her for school fees, and even the bride price for her younger brother. Often, during the night shift, Zhang Chen would go to the kitchen in person and cook a pot of braised pork or fish for them. When he rewarded them, they would be happy. Zhang Chen is good at cooking. When he has time, he will take Lao Wan to the vegetable market, buy fish, or meat, or screws, and then go to the canteen to cook it in a big pot and add vegetables to the workers. Someone saw Zhang Chen and Lao Wan coming back and entering the kitchen. Boss Zhang has gone to the kitchen. This news will soon cause a burst of commotion and excitement in the workshop and among the workers. Zhang Chen likes to watch them eating with relish. When watching them, he will think of the scene when he went to Xiao Zhao's house. How many of these hard-working and frugal girls are Xiao Zhao, and how many of them have parents at home? I have a younger brother and younger sister, so I just wait for their monthly money to be mailed back. For them, it may be the most exciting thing for them when the rural postman comes to the door and shouts, "Take the private seal to seal the remittance slip." Because of this, Zhang Chen felt that production could not be stopped no matter what. This invisibly put pressure on him, making him feel that maintaining normal production seemed to be more important than business. Zhang Chen went to the old market a few times and discovered the difference between himself and them. It should be said that he had a lot of wholesale customers. In their market, they were already the best, but his wholesale customers were all nearby. The customers of retail stores from provinces and cities are not packaged customers. This is the difference between him and them. Each of these packaging customers has their own retail store customers in their local markets. A packaging wholesaler is equivalent to copying his own stalls in other cities across the country, and at the same time, doing business for his own sales. Multiplication. Is it possible that only when you go to the old market can you get package packing customers? If so, Zhang Chen even considered whether he should make a desperate move and spend all his money to see if he could rent a stall in the old market. Thank you Qing Feng Kuagong for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 567. Are there no packagers in this market? Zhang Chen felt that there should be. Just like at the beginning, he always thought that there were no wholesale customers here, but in the end he found that there were still wholesale customers. As long as your goods were in the right place, those wholesale customers would pop up out of nowhere. What about these packers? Zhang Chen thought of the guy from Zhengzhou, Asia. He took out his business card from the drawer and looked at it. Regardless of whether he was bragging when he said he bought 300 pieces a day, looking at the stall number printed on his business card, he was at least from Asia. Yes, Asia, like Sijiking, is a wholesale market. It must be a package wholesaler. This is also true. For a moment, Zhang Chen even wanted to make a call, but he stopped himself immediately. He hadn't contacted her for such a long time, so what's the point of contacting her now? Tell people, boss, I have too many goods now, can you come over and take a look? This kind of thing, this kind of phone call, the same words, even if he could twist Zhang Chen's head off, he wouldn't do it. Zhang Chen threw the business card back into the drawer and sighed. Compared with wholesale customers in retail stores, these package wholesalers have more time and are more able to go to the nooks and crannies of every market to find sources of goods that others have not discovered at the moment. Zhang Chen concluded that they would exist in this market. They were like ghosts, hidden among the people walking around in the passage. The only reason why they didn't show up was that their goods didn't attract their attention. It was those cotton and linen shirts that caught the Asian customers' attention. Zhang Chen tried to re-examine his stall from the perspective of a packer. He felt that the reason why those cotton and linen shirts attracted people's attention was because there were 5 pieces in a row on his wall. Although they were 5 styles, it's a series. That wall and liquor t-shirts are also a series. So at that time, although my stall looked very colorful, the products were actually relatively simple. At first glance, it looked like it was for wholesale customers. But now, I keep making new styles and producing new ones. The products in this stall, there are more and more styles, and it's becoming more and more like a retail store. If you don't know them well, you will think at a glance that the clothes in their stalls are purchased from everywhere. Such stalls are very attractive to retail customers, but they are not attractive at all to packagers. It seems that this new style is another scale that is difficult to control. You can't do it if you have it, but you can't do it if you have too many. If you have too many, you won't have a style that will be attractive. It's like they are acting. You can't say that as soon as the curtain opens and there are more than a dozen actors standing on the stage, the audience will be stunned immediately. Zhang Chen walked to the main passage outside and tried to look into his stall with the eyes of a packer. He found that his stall now lacked that eye-catching feeling. No customer will look carefully at each stall when entering the market. You must first have something that can make his eyes light up and make him stop, and then take a second and third look to make him walk in. Your stall. Just like the scenery and props on the stage, you want to make people's eyes brighten. Zhang Chen thought that when he originally dealt with it, the best way was to start with the big colors first. When the curtain opened, a piece of warmth, the tone or cold tone, is uniform from the background to the props, which will immediately bring people into a specific atmosphere. Zhang Chen felt that he needed to have a series of products to attract attention. Zhang Chen saw Xiao Zhao coming in from the outside. When Xiao Zhao was walking, his feet were obviously stretched out. From time to time, he subconsciously used his hands to support or touch his belly. Maybe his belly was too big, or there was something wrong inside. The guy was restless again. The due date was only 1 month away, and Zhang Xiangbei seemed to be impatient. Zhang Chen stood there and looked at Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao smiled at him, walked over, and naturally stretched out his hand. Zhang Chen took her hand, and the two of them walked back to the stall. Xiao Zhao sat down at the table. The first thing he did was to open the drawer as usual and take out the accounting book inside. Xiao Zhao closed the accounting book without saying anything. But Zhang Chen still felt the disappointment in her eyes. Zhang Chen has done several businesses, but obviously not enough to surprise Xiao Zhao. In fact, just looking at the clothes in the stall, you should think of what you will see when you open the accounting book. It had been too long since they had had that kind of situation. When they walked outside the stall, they found that even the clothes on the wall of the stall had been sold out. Xiao Zhao also knew that the factory would be closed today and tomorrow, and he knew why it was closed, although they didn't say anything to each other. Zhang Chen felt a little bored, so he stood up and said to Xiao Zhao, "I'll go out for a walk." Xiao Zhao said, "Yeah. Do you want to eat anything?" "I'll bring it back when I come back," Zhang Chen asked. I want to eat that noodle," Xiao Zhao said. Zhang Chen understood. He smiled and took out a lunchbox from the drawer on the table. In fact, there are quite a few noodle shops around Sijiking. Zhang Chen thinks they are delicious, but Xiao Zhao still wants to eat Pian'erchuan from the noodle shop on Huixing Road every now and then. Zhang Chen even offers to buy Kuei Yuan Guan for her. She didn't want the one on Huixing Road. Zhang Chen laughed at her. What you are eating is not noodles, but memories. Xiao Zhao nodded desperately. Yes, it tastes good when eaten with memories. I wonder how the man who sold us the bicycles and his brother are doing now. There were 2 times when Zhang Chen came there and there were a lot of people there. Zhang Chen went to Kuiwen Pavilion not far away and bought a piece of Erchuan for Xiao Zhao. He also wanted to try it and brought it back. Xiao Zhao didn't eat it either. I laughed and said to him, these noodles with memories are delicious. Zhang Chen wanted to laugh while looking at it, but Xiao Zhao was right. Don't they also have memories of Kuiwen Hall? It's just too expensive and I can't bear to eat it. Zhang Chen went outside, put his lunchbox in the bicycle basket, and pushed the bicycle out of the parking lot. After thinking about it, he decided to go to Dongxin Road. Why should he go to Dongxin Road? Zhang Chen himself laughed. I feel that I am a little superstitious in my heart, and I feel that although the market on Dongxin Road is shabby, it has brought me good luck. Go back and take a look, maybe you can catch the shadow of good luck again. I was still laughing at Xiao Zhao just now. Isn't it just to reminisce when you go shopping? They are now very familiar with the boss of the Dongxin Road fabric market. The boss's name is Wang Hainiao. When Zhang Chen has nothing to do, he likes to go to his place to sit, not because he has any good fabrics, but to go to him. Relax casually, chat and brag all over the world, and get a lot of information. He told Zhang Chen about the fabric markets in Jinhua, Jianjian, and Zhens, and Zhang Chen ran over to have a look. Although he found nothing, Zhang Chen still felt it was worth it. After all, his horizons were opened. This guy is like a fabric map. He knows exactly where and what types of fabrics are produced. Zhang Chen also likes to chat with him about this. Wang Hainiao also often told him that if you want any fabric, just tell me and I will find it for you. I am not bragging. There is no textile printing and dyeing factory in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai that I have not been to. This, Zhang Chenxin, isn't that what he does? Every textile factory or printing and dyeing factory will have a backlog of fabrics, and they will deal with people like them. Zhang Chen believes that if he needs any fabric, he can help him find it, but his current problem is that he doesn't know what fabric he needs. Zhang Chen arrived at Wang Hainiao's shop and saw this guy lying on a recliner at the door and falling asleep. The sweatshirt he was wearing was rolled up and to his chest, exposing most of his belly. Along with the snoring. Zhang Chen walked in and walked around the store. He was a little disappointed because he didn't see anything new. Zhang Chen had basically taken away all the cotton and linen fabrics in his store. The stall was much empty. Against the wall were neatly square packages of fabrics tied with white cotton cloth. It looked like they had been piled up for a long time. There are also tubes of plaid flannel. Zhang Chen had some ideas about this and thought it could be used, but it was still early. There is also a lot of lining cloth, and some corners have turned yellow. Zhang Chen is worried that the inside of this kind of lining cloth will be brittle and will break if it is torn. Although Wang Hainiao assured him that it will not happen, but Zhang Chen still didn't dare to ask for it. In the Sijiking fabric market, there is a store that specializes in selling lining fabrics. His lining fabrics are all new goods imported from Qiqiao. The price difference between Qiqiao and Qiqiao is 1 or 2 cents per meter. Zhang Chen always buys them from him. Zhang Chen turned around and returned to the door. Wang Hainiao was still sleeping soundly. Zhang Chen saw a bottle of mineral water on the table with one bottom left, so he picked it up, unscrewed the lid, walked over, and took out the bottle of mineral water. The water poured on his exposed belly. Wang Haniao woke up with a loud scream, and Zhang Chen burst into laughter. When Wang Haniao saw it was Zhang Chen, he also laughed. While patting his belly, he said that he didn't sleep at all until dawn yesterday after playing mahjong. The person then sat up. "Why isn't there anything new?" Zhang Chen asked. "It's so hot that I'm too lazy to go out. As the old saying goes, a good man can't make 6 months worth of money." You, it's already October, brother. Isn't it just October? Isn't this weather similar to June? What's that package on the wall inside? Zhang Chen pointed to the inside of the stall. "Rubbish, I was killed by this pile of garbage." "What kind of rubbish can drag you to death with just a few bags? You don't have any strength at all, do you?" Wang Haniao rolled his eyes at him. "How many packages? I also have a warehouse with 100,000 meters of hair stored there." As Wang Haniao spoke, he seemed to remember something. He stood up, walked to the table, took the scissors, and walked towards the pile of cloth bags. Zhang Chen followed. Wang Haniao cut open a cloth bag, which contained 7 or 8 pieces of cloth folded one by one. Wang Haniao took out the top piece and handed it to Zhang Chen, who quickly caught it with his hands. "Here, don't you know how to design? See if there is any way to use it." Then he cut open another cloth bag, took out another piece, and handed it to Zhang Chen again. There were no lights on in the shop, and the light was very dark. Zhang Chen walked to the door with 2 pieces of cloth and threw them on the lounge chair. He saw that 2 pieces of cloth were made of linen, and one was made of beige linen, woven into a strip. One strip looked very similar to the shape of corduroy fabric. Zhang Chen looked at it and his heart moved, feeling that there seemed to be something to do. The other piece was dark brown, similar to slub linen, but it was shiny. Zhang Chen thought it was a blend. It should contain viscose fiber, which is the component of ice silk. He lifted a corner of the cloth with his hand and tried it. It was very good. The weight is very smooth, shaken, and the drape and swing are very good. "What's the price?" Zhang Chen asked. "If you can use it, you can use it for 3 or 4 yuan. It will make my headache better. It has been piled there for more than 2 years or almost 3 years. Okay, let me try. How much does it cost here?" Wang Haniao waved his hand and said, "Take it." What kind of money is this? It seems that he really hates them to the point of trash. Zhang Chen sat at his place until almost 11 o'clock. Wang Haniao said, "I'll ask the shop to bring some dishes over, and we'll have some drinks." Zhang Chen hurriedly got up and shouted, "Oh my God, I forgot when I was bragging, my wife is still waiting for me to buy her noodles." Wang Haniao laughed, helped Zhang Chen tie the 2 pieces of fabric on the bicycle bag rack, and watched him leave in a hurry. "Thank you for your monthly pass. Thank you for reading every day, On the Shore 131, third from top to bottom, and Dal Tin Soldier for your continued rewards. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 568. At around 12 o'clock, Xiao Zhao saw Zhang Chen hurried in from outside with 2 pieces of cloth on his right shoulder and a lunch box in his left hand. Xiao Zhao quickly stood up and took the lunch box from his hand. Zhang Chen put the fabric on his shoulder on the ground, and Xiao Zhao asked, "Did you come in?" "No, the boss gave it to me and he asked me to take it back for proofing." "What's the use of this fabric? It doesn't look good at all," Xiao Zhao said. "What do you want to use it for?" Zhang Chen shook his head and said, "I don't know either. Anyway, it was given by the boss. If it doesn't work, the curtains can be made in the factory." Xiao Zhao couldn't help but laugh. "When did you become so greedy?" Zhang Chen was speechless. He tried hard to recall why his heart had moved when he was in Wang Haniao's shop. Xiao Zhao started eating noodles, while Zhang Chen sat aside and stared at the fabric on the ground in a daze. He lifted up the slub fabric with his hands. Because it contained too much ice silk, the fabric had a very good hanging feel. But because of this, it was almost impossible to shape. No matter what style you made, it would always be soft. Yes, even with the adhesive lining added, Zhang Chen probably couldn't shape it. Maybe it wasn't used as a clothing fabric when it was produced. Its weaving method is very simple, that is, warp and weft weaving. The yarn is very thick and has a rough feeling. At the very top of the fabric, the weft yarn has come off and is hanging on the ground. Zhang Chen pulled it off with his hands, revealing the exposed warp yarn. It becomes a rough edge. Zhang Chen had an idea and continued to pull off the second weft yarn, the third and the fourth. After pulling more than a dozen weft yarns, the warp yarns that lost the weft yarns formed a thread-like effect of about 1 inch. This effect stimulated Zhang Chen in the morning. He took out a pair of scissors from the drawer and cut a piece of fabric about 1 meter long. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao said, "Stand up." Xiao Zhao looked at him, not knowing what he was going to do, but she still stood up. Zhang Chen put the piece of fabric on Xiao Zhao's body and couldn't help laughing. He saw that the hanging feeling of this piece of fabric was so good. Even with a big belly like Xiao Zhao around her body, she seemed to be much slimmer. The color of this fabric, the simple weave, and the drawing of the hem gave it a special feeling. Zhang Chen immediately understood that if he was on the mannequin and used draping, he could make a unique piece of clothing. Although Zhang Chen still doesn't know what the final product will look like, he has already found the feeling. Looking at the linen wick strip fabric, Zhang Chen seems to know how to use it. The general linen fabric is flat and rarely has such a three-dimensional feeling. Its shape is very similar to corduroy, but it is stiffer than corduroy. The texture of hemp is perfect for casual wear. Even using it to make pants and skirts, Zhang Chen feels that it will be better than corduroy. With such a large inventory of these two fabrics, Zhang Chen could almost conclude that the most likely reason for them was that the foreigner cancelled the order after placing the order, so the manufacturer had no choice but to get rid of them. When foreigners placed orders at that time, they were probably not for clothing fabrics, but for decorative soft furnishings. Because of this, no one thought of using them to make clothing. But Zhang Chen feels that no matter what kind of fabric it is, as long as it finds the right form, it can be turned into a good clothing fabric and achieve unexpected effects. A few years ago, no one used cotton quilts with red and green flowers to make clothing, which was very popular. For a while, Zhang Chen stood up and said to Xiao Zhao, "I want to go back to the factory. The factory is closed today and no one is working." Xiao Zhao knows that Zhang Chen is back in the factory now. He must have thought of something and wants to go back to make clothes. Xiao Zhao agreed. Zhang Chen carried the two pieces of fabric on the ground onto his shoulders and left. The entire factory was empty. It was a rare holiday. The workers either went to the streets or went to the city. Zhang Chen saw that only Lao Wan was taking a nap on the cutting bed. Lao Wan's dormitory is on the second floor of a simple room. At this time in the afternoon, the room is as hot as a steamer, and even the wind blown by the fan is hot. Zhang Chen reached out and patted the cutting bed. Lao Wan woke up and saw that it was Zhang Chen. He quickly sat up. Zhang Chen asked him, "Where are Zhao's Higang and Zhao's Hailong?" "They seem to have gone to the street," Lao Wan said sleepily. "Go find them for me." Lao Wan Yigilu rolled off the cutting bed, and when he got to the door, he went to ride a tricycle. Zhang Chen asked curiously, "Why are you riding a tricycle?" "I'll go get them back." "Okay, go ahead." Zhang Chen went to the sample room, took the mannequin, surrounded the piece of bamboo linen around the mannequin, inserted ballpoint needles one by one, fixed it on the mannequin, then took the scissors, cut off the excess part cut off. He took out his sketchbook and looked at the mannequin as he drew. The fabric was too soft, and the eyelets and buttons would wrinkle and hang easily. Zhang Chen decided that the whole dress would not need a single button, and would be all like a nightgown, with a lace up. He first considered the straps and thought he could use brown suede pig leather straps or make straps out of the same fabric. However, the pig leather strap is harder than this fabric. Zhang Chen is not sure whether the place where it is fixed will warp. Zhang Chen thinks it is better to use the same fabric to make straps, but the fabric is too soft. Even if it is used as a strap, the adhesive lining is ironed inside, which may be okay at first, but after washing it, it will deform and stretch longer and longer. Zhang Chen quickly thought of how to solve this problem. He used the cloth rope from the car to braid into a thick braid and used it as a strap. The problem was solved, and the effect was better than a single cloth strap. There was the clatter of a tricycle outside, as well as the voices of Zhao Zhigang, Zhao Hailong, and Kaidi. Zhang Chen walked out and saw Lao Wan driving the three of them back. The three people climbed down from the tricycle, carrying several plastic bags. Kaidi and Zhang Chen said, "I will cook authentic Sichuan food tonight and let Xiao Zhao eat it together." Zhang Chen said, "Okay, please remember to remind me to pick up Xiao Zhao at 5:30. He was worried that when he got busy, he would forget about picking up people again. Zhao Zhigang and Zhao Hailong walked to the sample room. Zhang Chen told them what he wanted. Zhao Hailong immediately got busy, rolling cloth ropes and braiding braids. Zhao Zhigang picked up the scissors and trimmed the cloth on the mannequin more reasonably, especially the armpits, front collar, and back. He told Zhang Chen that in these areas, the adhesive lining and patches must be ironed inside, otherwise the shape would not be formed, and Zhang Chen agreed. After Zhao Hailong braided the braid, he rolled up the entire piece of cloth except for the hem. The two pieces of door guard and back were ironed with adhesive lining. In order to prevent cracking, instead of using paper lining, he used cloth lining. Add a layer of patches and a circle shape will appear. There are no buttons. The strap is worn on the shoulders. The two front panels are folded over each other. A cloth belt is sewn on the inner one. The cloth belt goes to the left and goes through a buttonhole in the left waist of the front panel. It goes around the back and the front panel. A strip of cloth goes to the right, and the strips on the right waist and back piece meet together, and tie a knot. A cloak doesn't look like a cloak, a windbreaker doesn't look like a windbreaker, and a dress doesn't look like a dress. It can be worn with a shirt or a t-shirt. When untied, it becomes a piece of cloth. When worn on a person, it becomes a complete garment. Piece of clothing. Zhang Chen and Zhao Zhigang asked Kaidi to come over and see if there was anyone else. Call them all. Everyone else went out to play, only Kaidi came, and Lao Wan followed. Zhang Chen asked Kaidi to try it on. After Kaidi put it on, everyone thought it was good. After Kaidi took it off, Zhang Chen and Lao Wan said, "Put it on and have a look." Lao Wan was surprised and asked if Zhang Chen as if he was joking. He put it on, and then Zhao Zhigang, Zhao Hailong, and Zhang Chen tried it on. Zhang Chen looked at this thing and thought to himself, "You really don't pick on people, no matter how tall, short, fat, or thin. Now you don't even pick on men and women." Zhang Chen felt that this work was completed. Zhao Zhigang doesn't need to draw on the cardboard. He just needs to put the entire piece of cloth on the cardboard and trace it. He doesn't even need to put the size. Zhao Zhigang cut out a piece of wick strip fabric and a piece of paper lining. He ironed the back of the cloth with an iron. He turned it around and told Zhang Chen that this fabric was good and could even be used for casual suits. Zhang Chen nodded, feeling confident. He sat down, took a pen and paper and started designing. Only when Kaidi came to call him did he realize that it was already 5:30 and he needed to pick up Xiao Zhao. Zhang Chen stood up and looked at the half-designed work. He felt that he really couldn't leave. So far, everything had gone smoothly. He was worried that his ideas would be evaporated by the sun and sweat after a round and round. He walked to the door and called Lao Wan. Lao Wan ran over. Zhang Chen gave him the bicycle key and told him, Go to the stall to pick up Xiao Zhao. Lao Wan agreed. He didn't take the key from Zhang Chen's hand. He turned around and went to the back road. He took out a chair and put it in the bucket of the tricycle. Zhang Chen couldn't help laughing when he saw it. This treatment is comparable to that of a bicycle. Good. Zhang Chen returned to the sample room and continued designing. By the time Lao Wan picked up Xiao Zhao, he had already designed a series of clothes. He designed a set of long skirt covers, a set of trousers covers, and a pair of linings. Dress, a windbreaker, and a pair of linen overalls. The three-faced outfit in front also has a name now. They call it the beggar's outfit. In this way, the entire six-piece linen collection is complete. After dinner, Kaidi also helped to make sample clothes. By about 11 o'clock in the evening, all the sample clothes were ready. Zhang Chen asked Kaidi to call 5 female workers, including Kaidi herself, to put on all the sample clothes. Stand in a line. Zhao Zhigang and Xiao Zhao both said it looked good, but Zhang Chen frowned, always feeling that something was missing. Zhang Chen didn't agree, so the 6 people naturally didn't dare to take off their sample clothes. They stood there for more than 10 minutes. They couldn't bear it anymore. Kaidi looked at Xiao Zhao for help, and Xiao Zhao quickly said to Zhang Chen, "Hey, boss, can they take off their clothes?" Only then did Zhang Chen wake up and see those people still standing in a row, and quickly said, okay, thank you." After saying that, he turned around and walked out without saying a word. People here looked at each other, not knowing what he was doing. Kaidi asked Xiao Zhao, "Is the boss angry?" "No way," Xiao Zhao said, "this is nothing, why are you angry?" Lao Wan walked in, and Zhao Zhigang asked him, "Where did you see the boss going?" Lao Wan said, "He was riding his bicycle, as if he was going home." Xiao Zhao stood there, feeling even more baffled. How could such a thing happen? He left me here and went home by himself? Xiao Zhao's expression turned bad immediately. When Kaidi saw it, she quickly came over and said, "Come on, Xiao Zhao, I'll walk back with you." The two of them walked to the yard outside and saw Zhang Chen coming back on his bicycle. When he saw them, Zhang Chen asked Xiao Zhao, "Where are you going?" Xiao Zhao said angrily, "Where did you go just now?" "I went home to get pens and paints." "What are you doing with this?" "Draw." "Painting?" "Now." "Yes, don't you think the series is a bit too plain when put together?" Zhang Chen asked. When Zhang Chen said this, others also felt that there was something about it. The beige colors were lined up there, which was indeed a bit dazzling. Zhang Chen took out the long skirt suit and the windbreaker, mixed a crimson color in the color palette, and started painting with a pen. Small bridges, flowing water, weeping willows, grasshopper boats with pointed ends, cornices, attics, flower windows, bluestone alleys and Timi wharf, the scenery of a Jiangnan water town soon appeared on clothes. Everyone watching around applauded. "You're crazy," Xiao Zhao said with a smile, "this is a big deal. If you paint one piece at a time, aren't you still painting stupidly?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'm not that stupid. I will find a printing factory and use screen printing." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 569. Riding a tricycle, Zhang Chen and Lao Wan went to Dongxin Road. When Wang Haniao heard that Zhang Chen was coming to buy that batch of garbage, he was so happy that he ran to a nearby shop and bought 2 packs of cigarettes. He made sure to give 1 pack to Zhang Chen and Lao Wan. Zhang Chen laughed and said, "What do you mean, give me a kickback? You're too old to betray me, don't be verbose, get it?" Wang Haniao scolded. Zhang Chen could see that he was really happy, so he took it. Zhang Chen bought a package of bamboo hemp and 3 packages of wick strips. Each package contained 7 pieces, each ranging from 40 to 50 meters long. Packs of fabrics were brought out, confirming Zhang Chen's judgment yesterday. He saw there are code labels on both ends of the cloth bag. They are all in English. Zhang Chen doesn't know the English, but he knows the M number. He knows that there is a meter number behind it. This batch of goods turns out to be exported. For finished goods sold for export, the numbers on the code labels will not be wrong, and there will be no problem with the quality. There is no need to open the cloth bag and count them one by one. Zhang Chen bought a total of 338.4 meters of bamboo hemp, 1083.82 rice wick strips. When paying the bill, Wang Haniao still played a trick. According to what he and Zhang Chen said yesterday, if you want it, I can give it to you for 3 or 4 yuan. Anyone will understand the meaning of this as 2 different things. 3 pieces of fabric can be given to Zhang Chen. But when checking out, Wang Haniao and Zhang Chen said, "Brother, the price is as mentioned yesterday, 3 yuan for bamboo and hemp and 4 yuan for wick strips." Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment, and then laughed. He knew this guy's little trick, but he didn't care. Such fabrics and such prices were already so cheap that they looked like they were picked up. Zhang Chen himself felt embarrassed to bargain. When Wang Haniao set the price like this, he also had a plan in mind. He knew that Zhang Chen would come a second time. In his warehouse, there were more than 17,000 meters of bamboo hemp and 80,000 meters of wick strips. If Zhang Chen could use up all the 80,000 meters, then he would have made an extra 80,000 meters. If Zhang Chen had finalized the price with him yesterday, he would have agreed to it, let alone 3 yuan, even 2 and 8 yuan. When he packed up the entire warehouse, he calculated that this batch of fabrics only cost 1 yuan and 60 cents. 1 meter more, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to swallow such a large amount in one gulp, but he didn't know about it until the fabric arrived, and no one even asked, let alone bought it. It's only strange that Zhang Chen didn't negotiate the price yesterday, and today he rode a tricycle directly to the door of the store. Even if you parked the tricycle outside the market, someone walked in first and negotiated the price. This trick even failed Zhao Zhigang when he went to buy a sewing machine. Everyone knows how to use it. You rushed in as soon as you arrived, acting like you were determined to buy goods. If Wang Haniao didn't hit Xiaojiju like this, he wouldn't be a businessman. In comparison, Zhang Chen was still young. In other words, he simply doesn't care about such small things. A set of clothes with 1 or 2 extra pieces of fabric per meter is nothing to him. When they returned to the factory with the fabrics, the owner of the printing factory that Zhao Zhigang went out to find was already waiting for them. He even brought over the copy paper for printing. He had also negotiated with Zhao Zhigang about the price of a single piece of printing. This is what Zhang Chen ordered Zhao Zhigang to discuss. He felt that he was really not good at negotiating prices. Zhang Chen spread the copy paper on the table, picked up the brush, finished several paintings, and handed them to the boss of the printing factory. The boss went to the cutting bed and waited for Zhao Zhigang's cutting. Zhao's Hailong is fine for the time being, so he replaces Lao Wan in helping to pull cloth in the cutting room. Lao Wan has a lot to do today. He needs to take the fabric samples and go to the Sijiking fabric market to make lining fabrics, and to the East Station small commodity market to make sewing threads. This job is also very simple. Just pick the color of the fabric, the closer it is to the color of the cloth sample, the better. As for the sewing thread, pick out a few that are close to each other from dozens of kinds of threads, pull the thread apart, and put it on the fabric sample. You can't tell where the thread is with the naked eye, it's the most suitable thread. Zhang Chen rode his bicycle and left first. He told Lao Wan that when you go to the fabric market, go to the Taiwanese stall. If I have fabric there, you can bring it back together. Lao Wan said yes. Zhang Chen rode his bicycle and went to Cai Jingxiang's place first and picked out 3 rolls of fabrics, which were used to match this batch of clothes, especially the beggar's outfit. These 2 types of fabrics, one is avant-garde and fashionable, and the other is simple, natural, and a little wild. When paired together, Zhang Chen didn't have to wait for samples to come out, he was already sure that this must be a wonderful combination. Zhang Chen returned to the booth. Xiao Zhao asked if the fabrics had been put in. Zhang Chen nodded and responded casually, a little absent-minded. What he was thinking about was how to make a grand debut with the series after it was brought to the booth. If so, it seems like something is missing. The curtain of the stage is opened. Even if the protagonist has not appeared yet, the scenery, props and lighting on the stage must create an atmosphere to whet the audience's appetite first. Yes, the atmosphere, the lighting is enough in this stall. That series of clothes appear as the protagonists, and their weight is enough. What is not enough is the atmosphere in this stall. Zhang Chen stood up, said to Xiao Zhao, "I'll go out for a while," and walked out. Xiao Zhao looked at his back and felt that he had been a bit arrogant in the past 2 days. Xiao Zhao smiled slightly. She knew that he was hiding his thoughts in his heart and was not good at expressing them in words, so he liked to show them to you. What reassures Xiao Zhao is that every time he makes something, his idea is always right and the effect is always unexpectedly good. And when he gets rid of all the thoughts in his heart, his whole person will slowly become calm and normal. After a while, Zhang Chen came back with a person. As soon as the 2 people returned to the stall, Zhang Chen climbed up and down with a stool and measured the size with a tape measure without explaining to Xiao Zhao. The person was in a small book. Xiao Zhao stood there stupidly, not knowing what they were going to do. After taking the measurements, Zhang Chen sat down at the table, took out a pen and paper, and drew on the table. The man stood on the back right side of Zhang Chen, listening to Zhang Chen talking as he drew, nodding, and saying yes, no. Xiao Zhao was also very curious. He stood to the left of Zhang Chen and looked at it. After watching for a while, he understood that Zhang Chen wanted to use 3 sets of light boxes to make 2 door covers for the stall. On the top is a plexiglass light box that spans the entire rolling shutter door. Zhang Chen said to the man, "This one has white characters on a green background." "Which kind of green?" "I will go to your store to pick it up later. The characters will be in song font." Zhang Chen wrote, "First we are our own source of supply." After thinking about it, cross it out and rewrite, "Our source of supply is ourselves." Xiao Zhao felt that these words were so familiar, as if they were some kind of advertising slogan. He had seen them somewhere before, but he couldn't remember them anymore, so he stopped thinking about them and listened to what Zhang Chen continued to say. Zhang Chen told the man that these words were the same on both sides. The man said yes, but the light box in the passage here is longer than the one over there. In terms of layout. Zhang Chen thought for a while, and he drew a square frame on the head of the long light box. The lines of this square frame were not completely closed, and there were gaps intermittently. He then drew a tree in the square frame. Xiao Zhao's silhouette looks like a peach blossom tree, with branches extending outside the square frame. Zhang Chen asked the man, "Would this solve the problem?" The man smiled and said, "Okay, but you have to help us draw this. We can't draw that well." Zhang Chen said, "Yes, no problem." Next, on the pillar at the corner of the 7-shaped stall, which is outside the pillar where Zhang Chen and the others hung the billboard, Zhang Chen drew a triangular vertical light box, which was connected with the 2 horizontal light boxes to form a door. Set, the bottom is straight to the ground. Zhang Chen told the man that this was also made of green plexiglass as the background color, the same as above. The light box faced both sides of the 2 passages. Zhang Chen told the man that the 2 sides were made exactly the same. As for the content, Zhang Chen wrote the 2 cursive characters Xiaomei vertically. He told the man, "I'll do this later, I wrote it to you in the same size." This one is made of bright red plexiglass. The man said yes. Zhang Chen thought for a while and drew a symbol in the upper right corner of the word Xiaomei. He didn't know what the symbol meant at the time. Anyway, all trademarks have this symbol. He thought the symbol was very foreign. It was cool, so he used it. When he went to the Industrial and Commercial Bureau to register a trademark, he realized that the symbol turned out to be a registered trademark. At that time, he couldn't use it, even after he applied for trademark registration. He had to wait for the trademark registration certificate from the National Trademark Office to be issued before he could use the symbol on the Xiaomei trademark. How did he know at the time? Never mind that. Zhang Chen wrote the word clothing under the word Xiaomei and told the person that this was also in white song font, just like the one above. The man said yes. Is everything clear? Zhang Chen asked. Clear. Okay, let's go. The two people stood up, Feng Huo walked out again, and walked to the outer passage. Zhang Chen pulled the man and said to him, let's go, come with me to the market office first and say hello to them. It was after 5 o'clock that Zhang Chen returned to the stall, sat down, and breathed a sigh of relief. He sat there and looked at Xiao Zhao smiling stupidly. Why are you laughing? Xiao Zhao asked. Nothing to smile about. After a while, Zhang Chen couldn't hold back his excitement. He slapped his hands on his thighs and beat them like drums for a while, saying to himself, now, everything is ready, all I need is. Zhang Chen did not continue talking. Xiao Zhao knew that what he did not say was that Dongfen was waiting for the batch of clothes to come out. Have you finished making the light box? Xiao Zhao asked. Go on. How much? Not expensive, 3 light boxes, 2080. Xiao Zhao cursed in his heart, I'm going to die. It's only 2080 yuan, not expensive. You are really rich. Humph, you didn't even discuss it with me. However, Xiao Zhao thought to himself, so what if he discussed it with you? He would definitely have 10,000 reasons to convince you, but you still didn't agree obediently in the end. Xiao Zhao shook her head slightly and smiled bitterly. She looked at Zhang Chen and said to him, hang up a blackboard. The people on the other side have so many opinions. If you do this, don't they get mad? It's okay, Zhang Chen said, I have already gone to the marketing office and told them, and they agreed. Brother Hagen is also there. Xiao Zhao nodded and said, that's good. By the way, that sentence you wrote earlier, our source of goods is ourselves, was copied from which advertisement? Why am I so familiar with it? Xiao Zhao asked. Zhang Chen looked at her and said seriously, this is not from an advertisement, it is a famous quote. Famous quote? Which celebrity said it? Zhang Chen couldn't hold it in any longer and burst into laughter. You. Thank you for your monthly ticket to Smile and Run. Why? Thank you for all the recommendation votes and reading. I wish everyone good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 570. The clothes from the factory have come out in batches. Zhang Chen didn't ask Lao Wan to deliver any of them to the stall. They were all piled up in the factory. Zhang Chen asked Zhao Zhigang and the others to match all the styles and sizes, including the ones that fit this batch of clothes. Small clothes. That cart of fabrics was quickly used up. Zhang Chen asked Lao Wan to pull another cart of wick strips and continue working. Xiao Zhao looked at so many clothes piled up in the factory and couldn't help but feel a little worried. She felt that Zhang Chen was now, a bit like a gambler, waiting for the last stud. Zhao Zhigang and Kaidi also didn't understand. After all the clothes were made, why weren't they sent to the stalls? If they were piled here, how could they make money? If they are piled up for a few more days, even the factory won't be able to pile them up anymore. Xiao Zhao got up in the morning and went to the factory. Lao Wan had to go out to purchase accessories or linings every day, so he could take Xiao Zhao out by the way. When Kaidi saw Xiao Zhao coming, she came over and asked anxiously, "Why don't you sell so many clothes? I'm almost dying of anxiety." "Xiao Zhao, aren't you anxious?" Xiao Zhao was anxious, but still smiled and said to her, "It should be tomorrow. I will ask Lao Wan to deliver it to the stall tomorrow." Xiao Zhao knew that Zhang Chen was waiting for the light box to arrive. The light box would not be installed until this afternoon. This husband was preparing to act again. In the afternoon, the man and two guys came over with a light box and a ladder and started to install it. The other stalls around them didn't know what was going on, so they came around to watch, and the door of their stall was full. After the light box was installed and the wires were connected, Zhang Chen put a small piece of sticker under one of the air switches. The word light box was written on the sticker. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao said, "Come and drive." Xiao Zhao flipped the switch, and the light box outside lit up, and the people surrounding the stall exclaimed, "Oh!" Not sure if it was because of the lighting, Xiao Zhao looked over the wall and saw that Feng Zhen's face on the other side was also green. Lao Wan and Zhao Zhigang got up very early and took the orders Zhang Chen wrote to them to distribute the goods. They packed a full tricycle. On top of the bundles of clothes, there was a pile of clothes spread out. These clothes were not packaged, and use hangers to hang them one by one. Zhao Zhigang carefully selected each set and guided the ironing process in the factory twice before finishing it. In this way, when they get to the stall, they don't need to go to the ironing room to iron it. Instead, they can directly take out samples, or hang them on vertical hangers in the stall for others to try, allowing them to feel the clothes produced in their own factory. How good the workmanship is, Zhao Zhigang is very confident. He feels that he will not be afraid if you take out the clothes from all the Sijiking stalls. Come on, come out, if you have the guts, come and compete to see whose workmanship is the best. Zhao Zhigang took 2 large pieces of craft paper and carefully covered the pile of flat clothes. Then he hooked one end of 2 rubber bands on the handrail of the tricycle and crossed them to secure the clothes. He tested the tightness of the rubber band with his hands and told Lao Wan that it was okay. In the stall, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao had vacated both walls when they got off work yesterday, just waiting for this batch of clothes to arrive. After they loaded the car, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao also arrived. Zhang Chen saw that they were ready and waiting for him, so he nodded to Lao Wan and said, "Let's go." Zhao Zhigang rode a bicycle in the factory and wanted to go with them. Zhang Chen suddenly became nervous and wanted to tell Zhao Zhigang, "No, you stay in the factory and don't go." On the surface, Zhang Chen looked calm, but inside he was uneasy. This uneasiness had lasted for several days. Along with all his preparations, he became a little worried about gains and losses. One thing was clearly done. He himself always wonders if something has been missed, and this omission will eventually lead to uncontrollable consequences. He believes that the play will be successful, but he is vaguely worried that it will fail. If it fails, you always hope that the audience will be as small as possible. Just like a large number of people gathered around to watch you set off a firecracker, and some even plugged their ears with 2 fingers. You spread your arms, walk sideways to the firing point, and lit the fuse confidently. The result is a squib. How embarrassing is that? Zhang Chen felt a little bit that he was taking this matter too seriously and with a sense of ceremony. If he had known this, he would have sent the clothes to the stall as soon as they came out, without any fuss. Whether it sells well or not, it's all up to him. Give it to the market. If that doesn't work, then secretly exchange a batch of goods. This is secretly on the ground and secretly underground. Isn't it better than it is now? Now, I have put myself up and cannot get down. Zhang Chen looked at Zhao Zhigang and thought, if he just found a reason not to let him go, Zhao Zhigang would definitely not agree, and he would also find a reason to insist on going. Just like he couldn't stop Xiao Zhao before, he can't stop him now. Zhao Zhigang, Do you have any suitable and compelling reasons to stop them? Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao said earlier that you should go after you wake up. Xiao Zhao said, I have woken up. Zhang Chen said bravely, let's sleep some more. Why? New models are being launched today, so the stall must be very busy. How can you do it alone? Zhang Chen was speechless. He couldn't tell Xiao Zhao, no one might come today, and no one might want this batch of goods at all. Now, he had no way to tell Zhao Zhigang that if this batch of goods was delivered to the stall, there might be embarrassment. Don't watch me get embarrassed. What's more, this series of clothes is not only your work, but also Zhao Zhigang's work. Zhao Zhigang is also excited. He also wants to see what his works will look like when they are displayed at once. This appetite, it was still you who hung me up. Okay, let's go together. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao arrived at the stall. After Xiao Zhao turned on the lights of the stall and the light box at the door, Lao Wan arrived at the door on a tricycle, and Zhao Zhigang ran in behind him. Lao Wan comes to the market almost every day and is familiar with the security guard at the door. They all know that he is from 1117. The owner of 1117 is a friend of Hagen and a star stall in the market. Every security guard knows this. When they saw Lao Wan's full tricycle arriving, they wouldn't let him in and asked him to move it one trip at a time. The security guard found it unreasonable, so Lao Wan handed out a ring of cigarettes and told them, and they let him. Wan's tricycle drove straight in, riding along the main aisle until it reached the stall door. As soon as the light box of Zhang Chen's stall turned on, traders in 2s and 3s came over to take a look. When their truckload of goods arrived and Zhang Chen started to put samples on the wall, more people gathered around. Anyway, now in the market there are not many people and there is not much business to do. Instead of sitting in the stall, it is better to come and watch the excitement. Zhang Chen looked at the model who walked out of the door first. He put on a shirt with a stand-up collar and the beggar's uniform on top. A Yang came over and yelled while watching what they were doing. His movements attracted more people, not only from their passage, but also from the next passage. Zhang Chen put on the model's clothes and turned around. When he saw Feng Zhen staring at them like two knives, Zhang Chen couldn't help but feel a shiver in his heart. Zhang Chen then began to display sample clothes on the main wall. He displayed a series of 5-piece wick strips on the main wall, and the onlookers outside started a commotion. Zhang Chen heard a Yang asking Xiao Zhao, are all the paintings on the clothes painted by your husband? Xiao Zhao said Zhang Chen heard someone asking Zhao Zhigang the same question. Zhao Zhigang said, these flower patterns are impossible to find in the market. They are all designed by our boss himself. Our boss is very good at painting and draws very well. Zhang Chen seemed to feel that he could see it. When Zhao Zhigang said this, his neck was probably red, but he kept explaining, talking about their boss and their factory. Zhang Chen also heard Feng Zhen scolding, and he didn't know who she was scolding. It meant that they had blocked her stall and told them to go away a little. If they want to watch the show, they should go to the stage and not stand in front of my store. Everyone could hear the sourness, so the person being scolded didn't care about her, just smiled and walked away. Zhang Chen felt that her voice was harsh, and it hit him immediately. He felt that he did feel like acting now, but he was never nervous when he was in the troupe and acted as a small actor on stage. Why was he nervous today? Still, he was worried that when the curtain rose, he would screw up the performance. Today, I am not a supporting role, but the protagonist of this stage. It is Feng Logui and Tan Shahen. If you can't hold on, this show won't hold on. The more he thought about it, the more nervous he became. As he stood there, he felt his whole body trembling. How embarrassing it would be if no one came to restock today. People behind him were chattering, and various sounds filled his ears. Zhang Chen felt that he didn't even have the courage to look back. For a moment, he remembered why this feeling was so familiar. Everything feels familiar. He remembered when he was in Yongcheng, when he climbed up to the intersection into the city for the first time, stood on the high scaffolding, and painted advertisements on the tin sheets. Wasn't it like this? Under the scaffolding, many people were watching, chattering in the same way. He kept painting, but did not dare to look back. He felt that as soon as he turned around, facing the many people and looks below, he would look like a child. I went to watch a criticism meeting, and those who were being criticized stood on the stage with their heads lowered. Zhang Chen was on the scaffolding, being basked in the sun and blown by the wind. His ears were always filled with the noisy sounds below. He didn't even dare to look back or come down even when he was in a hurry to urinate. Zhang Chen couldn't remember how this feeling disappeared later. Zhang Chen thought about the time he went to the hotel for an interview in Haikan and his embarrassment when he couldn't tell whether he should use light soy sauce or black soy sauce for steaming fish. He turned around and left, listening to the mocking laughter of the people in the row behind him. He lowered his head and left as if fleeing, not daring to look at the people around him who were applying for jobs like him. He remembered that he was at the West Lake, and when he packed up his portfolio and left there were students from the Academy of Fine Arts, who said in a deliberately long voice, "Brother, withdraw." Others laughed, and some screamed, "Idiot." Zhang Chen stood there, feeling that he was such an idiot today. The play started and you were already on the stage, but something suddenly happened to you and you couldn't continue the performance or end it. How embarrassing it would be if no one bought the goods today. Zhang Chen stood there. He felt like he couldn't control the trembling all over his body. The more he tried to control it, the harder his whole body trembled. He felt that he was alone and helpless. Who could save me? The crowd behind them was chirping, but all the sounds seemed to be far away and close at hand. Wow, they are all new. Zhang Chen heard a cry, and his whole body was shaken. This slightly hoarse cry sounded so clear and perfect at this moment. It cut through all the noisy sounds and came through the air. This is the voice of the female customer in Wuhu. It's so beautiful. He then heard the voice of the customer from Ma'anshan. Zhang Chen felt that his whole body suddenly relaxed and he was sweating profusely.